So this all started when their plane crashed?
That's Lost.
Oh, right. You know, I met J.J. Abrams once, and I don't know what this means, but he said the island is just Hurley's dream.
It's Britney, bitch.
And the Iraq, everywhere, like, such as.
I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Out, Charlie! Out!
Our next door neighbors are foreign countries.
I call upon all nations to do everything they can to stop these terrorist killers. Thank you. Now watch this drive.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Remember Shuffle. My name is Ben. With me as always my co-host Giordano.
I'll see you in another episode, brother.
And today we are joined by returning Remember Shuffle guest Sam. Say hi, Sam.
Hello.
Yes, lovely Sam is returning. You may remember her from Manic Pixie Dream Girl, Paris Hilton, Hipsters. Yeah, fourth time returning guest.
And today we are discussing a marquee network drama from the 2000s. We are discussing Lost on Sam's request. Sam, what made you want to do Lost so bad?
Well, I had to come on the show, right? Because it's been a year. You know, you let me out of the cage once a year in your basement. And so I was like trying to give you something. Also, I just watched it. I just watched it in the last month for the first time ever.
I think that's what made it so appealing to me is I was like, I think we wanted to do something else. But if you've seen it recently, you're probably the top 100 most recent Lost rewatchers in the world. Yeah. Ben and I, like everyone else, had seen Lost from 2004 to like 2010 and haven't revisited it at all since. It was too painful. Mm-hmm. And so this was a golden opportunity.
Okay.
You don't understand. For people who watch this, okay, so
yes, and
you think that Lost is one of the greatest shows of all time. You're a big stan.
I never said that.
Wow.
Wow, we got our first twist of the episode.
Exactly. No, I do. I think it's a perfect show.
Perfect.
Yeah, 10 out of 10, no notes.
Yeah, you love the episode where you find out where Jack's party of 5 tattoos come from.
You know what? How many episodes were there? We talked about this earlier.
121.
Okay, you can't have 121 stand out. There's got to be a little filler. Mm-hmm. It's allowed. And filler is good, I think.
Sam, can I ask, have you watched the show all the way to the end?
Yes, I did.
Damn, and you still feel this way. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
She's a true believer.
Next
she has
question.
faith.
Next fucking question. Yeah. No, I do. I watched it all the way to the end. I watched the finale last week and I sobbed like a little baby.
I was crying during the finale. As much as I hated the story of the last 2 seasons, I teared up during the finale. I'm not made of stone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the official Remember Shuffle policy is that if a piece of art can get you to tear up, it's an automatic 3 out of 5 stars as the floor of what it can do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I teared up at plenty of Lost episodes. Plenty of that melodrama got right to me, cut me to my very core.
Yeah, it's a very emotional show.
Very melodramatic. We have a section for that later. But I wanted to talk about Lost because I think it really is such a great embodiment of the 2000s. The tension that exists just within the making of the show and release of the show itself, like embodies so many of the technological and cultural changes of the decade, from like the writer's strike to the transmedia that was released around Lost. I think it has one of the first podcasts ever released with the TV show. The Fandom. I think it's all very indicative of the culture at the time. And this show had a lot of tension in the way that it was made because like the golden age of television is happening in the 2000s and people are making these great dramas like The Sopranos, and The Shield and The Wire. And a network like ABC wants to get on this trend and they make Lost, and it just doesn't really make any sense on a network like that, like a creator-driven show like Lost, because they don't operate the same way.
The incentives are different.
The incentives are different, exactly.
The incentives for network TV is to sell advertisements. The incentives for a premium channel like HBO is to sell subscriptions.
Yeah. And so this show takes off and becomes a monster hit. Ben and I, before we put out every episode every week, we're looking around for cold open clips that we can choose from. There is a dozen Lost references that we could choose from. It was so easy this week because this show got mentioned everywhere. Everyone was talking about Lost. Everyone had to know it was in the fucking hatch. Mm-hmm. So it creates this hit show and Damon Lindelof is like, okay, I'd like to end this in 3 seasons. And the network is like, no, that's not how this works. This is just going to be on TV until people stop watching it. That's how network TV works. You know, when they make ER, they don't have an end date in mind. The end date is like when people get bored. But the tension with a creator-driven show is that because it has one artistic vision that's supposed to go from like the beginning until the end, you can't just keep it going forever, like it's ER or something, or like Grey's Anatomy.
Do you know why it stopped when it did? Just people were just sick of it? Is that...
No, not at all, actually. So Damon Lindelof went to the network and was like, I'd like to do 3 seasons. And they were like, no, that's not how this works. And then season 3 came out. And the first 6 episodes, it actually lost a third of their audience because it was starting to stagnate a little bit. It wasn't really going anywhere. And so finally the network came to him and they were like, okay, for the first time ever on a network was like, we will negotiate an end date with you. How does 10 seasons sound?
So many seasons.
There are 24 episodes per season. This is a completely different type of show than The Sopranos. And The Leftovers had 24 episodes total, a show that he would go on to make. And so finally they negotiate down to 6 seasons, which I think was a little bit too much. Those last 2 seasons, really tough watch. I think that tension in the way of trying to put a prestige TV show on a TV network is very much like an embodiment of this cultural changing practice that's happening at the time. We're fitting the modern TV show peg into a hole that was created in the 1950s when ABC was started.
Also, think about the ask that the network is making of all of the people who work on that show. Like, sure, they're employed for a decade, but creative types don't want to do the same project over and over again for forever. So be like, hey, Damon Lindelof, do you want to keep making Lost for a decade of your life? That's a crazy fucking ask of an employee.
And like having to hear Desmond's Scottish accent forever, like over and over and over again for like 6 years.
I've loved ya. I've always loved ya. It's so weird hearing his normal accent in real life. He's not
Scottish?
No. I mean, he is Scottish, but he doesn't talk like that.
He like Shrekified his voice
yes,
a bit.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. I'd be like if Ben and I talk like this like all the time, you know?
That's your Canadian accent?
That was crazy.
Yeah, bud.
That was crazy.
Yeah, you know, in 2005, Ben and I were really big fans of this show. We would watch together every week, and I swear I would never go back to this island, but here I am. I couldn't watch all of it. It's too much in 2 weeks to watch 121 hours of TV. But I did watch like 50 episodes. I was going a little squirrely, crushing these every night after work.
I watched the best 25. Lost would be happy with how I did this in that I just watched the best 25 list in order, regardless of when they were released. So I was hopping from seasons 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And while that wasn't totally great for me understanding the plot, especially in those later seasons where it gets real convoluted, I remembered a shocking amount of this show because, like Giordano, I was a Turbo fan. Here's maybe the most 2000 sentence I could possibly say. I went to the Blockbuster and rented seasons of this show. I rented seasons of Lost, which I then binge watched on my Xbox in my parents' suburban basement.
I had a more 2000s approach. I think I downloaded them off LimeWire and then burned them to DVDs and then watched them in my DVD player.
So wait, so neither of you watched it live then?
The first 2 seasons I did like that, and then seasons 3 to 5 I watched live.
Okay.
I think that it's funny, like trying to judge this against other shows, you end up wondering, like, should I just take the 12 best episodes per season and then rank those against something like Tulsa King or This Is Us or Shogun? It's always tough to figure out where does this show sit in terms of like the drama ranking. I think it's certainly better than The Apprentice, which I just watched recently.
They're calling it the lowest bar ever cleared.
We have a section later dedicated to like, was this a good show? I'll leave that for later. I'll give you like a character recap, a plot recap, and then we'll talk about themes. You know, very difficult. They have a lot of overt themes in this show. So if you've watched this show, you know they're like faith, leadership, morality, religion. Our bibliography this week, we read a book called Lost, Back to the Island by Emily St. James and Noel Murray. I was a really big fan of Emily St. James's writings at the time when this was coming out. And then I watched the Getting Lost documentary on Tubi, which I really enjoyed. Shout out to that documentary.
Shout out to Tubi.
Shout out to Tubi. Little bit of a history on the show. Are you guys familiar with Lloyd Braun?
No. Next question.
Okay, let's skip this
Just go
part.
rapid fire, yeah.
He gets mentioned on Seinfeld. There's a character named after him on Seinfeld because he was like Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David's, I think they're like agent or lawyer. But he became the president of ABC and he greenlit Lost, Grey's Anatomy, and Desperate Housewives and then got fired like immediately after, partly for greenlighting Lost and giving them this giant budget for the pilot, which would have been so funny to basically make these like insanely good 3 moves and then get fired and be like, this was the most expensive pilot ever made and you gave it to a show show called Lost with no stars in it. You know,
Yeah.
Lost, of the 3 shows I named, they actually had the lowest rating. So Desperate Housewives, I think, had the highest rating share at the time, followed by Grey's Anatomy and then Lost. I've never seen Desperate Housewives. I would love to watch that for the show.
I watched the first season of it. It's good, and then it gets really bad.
But yeah, because of that, actually, the studio, after they replaced the guy who greenlit the show, Lloyd Braun, they approached Damon Lindelof and they said, hey, just in case we don't want to pick up this pilot, can you include something at the end just to kind of wrap everything up, like have some closure in case we don't continue with the show after the pilot? He's like, I don't think you understand what we're trying to do here. We're not going to be doing that for a long time. Lloyd Braun has said he's seeing the success of Survivor and Castaway. Ben and I talked about this on our Survivor episode. There was something about the turn of the millennium and the deserted island that people found extremely appealing. For whatever reason, the Swiss Family Robinson, or like the Tempest fantasy of being on a desert island, was back in full force around this time. And they wanted to capture this with, can we set a drama on an island? I'll put a little line in here from season 1 that I think sounds like it could have been right out of Survivor.
There's something that you need to know. If we survive this, we survive tonight, we're gonna have a Locke problem. And I have to know that you got my back.
I got your back.
Damon Lindelof, primary showrunner. He seems like a really cool guy. I really enjoyed all the interviews I listened to with him. Very self-aware, too.
Yeah, we'll probably never do it for the show because it's from the 2010s, but he made The Leftovers on HBO, which I think is an incredible fucking show about grief and loss. It's not a happy show, but I think that second season of The Leftovers in particular is as perfect a season of television as you can make.
Yeah, Sam's mom watched it. She thought it was a show about ZD, actually.
Yeah, she was like, oh, I'm hungry.
She went, what the frick is this?
Hey.
I thought this was going to be about the family.
Yeah. The family.
Sam's from Staten Island. It's funny because anytime you bring up Lost, people are like, oh, fuck that show and fuck J.J. Abrams. And I think what revisiting it has made me realize is like, this show is more maligned than it deserves to be. I think the knee-jerk reaction of saying this was like the worst show ever is wrong. But also, the second is completely wrong because J.J. Abrams, he's involved.
I want to know where this knee-jerk reaction is coming from.
I think he was just like the most famous person associated with the pilot. And they sold it that way, potentially, like brought to you by J.J. Abrams. You know, he had just made Alias.
But I mean it being the worst show of all time.
You know how people think about Game of Thrones now?
Yeah.
Where you're like, awful. Horrible.
See, I've never seen Game of Thrones, but I feel like what I think of it as, oh, it's supposed to be a good show. That period at the end. I mean, it seems kind of like fantasy, whatever the fuck. It's not really my thing. But people are like, yeah, it's good. So I'm sure it's like decent. That's like, you know, like there's no part of me that's like, oh, fuck that. Where is this like, just because it's popular, it's bad?
I think the knee-jerk reaction that Lost is bad comes from the fact that they didn't nail the ending. And it is a show that hinged on a mystery box, and people were dissatisfied with how that mystery box was resolved at the end. And so the fact that it ended so poorly kind of makes people retroactively hate even the better seasons 1 through 4.
We'll get into the plot later. We have a section for season 6, so we can talk about the ending. But yeah, the point I wanted to make here is that J.J. Abrams, he comes up with the idea, he works on the first season for the like first 6 episodes, and then that's kind of it. I think he comes back to like help write like the season premieres and finales. David Lindelof, he seems to almost like throw him, J.J. Abrams, under the bus, which I fully support. I fully support throwing J.J. Abrams under a bus.
Correct.
David Lindelof has said like, you know, J.J., he's very good at coming up with mysteries. He's not so good at like answering them.
Do you think he's short? Sorry, side note. I have no idea what he looks like.
JJ?
But the name JJ, I'm
Right,
like, this has
of
got to be a
course.
little guy.
Yeah.
This has got to be a little, and I'm just picturing you like throwing him under the bus. And he's like a short guy. I don't know why I had like a really vivid visual picture. He's 5'7". I just looked it up. He's 5'7". Okay, it's crazy. I'm so good at that. How did I know? It just says the name, the aura.
Right, you're doing
5'7".
race science.
See, I knew it. I knew it. Yeah, I did.
JJ came up with the idea for the hatch, for example. He's like, okay, there's an island and they're trying to survive. You know, it's like Survivor, like Castaway, but there's a hatch. And apparently Damon Lindelof was like, okay, but like what's in the hatch? And J.J. Abrams was like, I don't know, but we'll figure that out when it comes. So Damon Lindelof says like, so the time has come and I have to answer this question. And J.J., he's gone.
He's making Star Trek. He's ruining Star Wars. He's doing all of his
he's on to
things.
ruining different things. So in the season 2 director's commentary, was telling this story and then said, well, the time has come. And so now we have to pull a rabbit out of our hat here. It seems like he was given all of the responsibility of like actually walking out what these mysteries should be. But the idea that presenting a mystery makes you a great artist, I think is nuts. It's funny too, Lindelof, when he talks about the show, he's like, I hope what I'm doing is art, but I don't want to call it that because like I don't think I should be the one to say it is. I'm like, bro, you can call your TV show art. Like this, it is art. It's got a script, actors.
Do you call your podcast art?
It's more like art review, I suppose.
Art review. You're critiquers.
I'm an art critiquer.
Yeah.
It's content. It's not art.
Right.
It's content.
Slop.
Yeah, exactly.
Just before we move on, I just want to say about this mystery business, what you need to understand, listener, especially our younger listeners, is that, okay, big deal. They had a mystery box and they had to constantly figure out what they were doing on the go, right? They encouraged this. There were so many forums with lost theories where all the nerds are puzzling this out. They released the tie-in products. They would go to Comic-Cons. They would get asked questions like, hey, that jigsaw puzzle of a Dharma site, is that canon? Can we use that in figuring out what's going on? And they would say yes. They would say like, yeah, sure, I guess the jigsaw puzzle is canon. So I get it. The writers painted themselves into a corner again and again and again. It was a 12-sided room that they just kept painting themselves into every single fucking corner of this goddamn thing. But I have no sympathy for them because they just threw fuel on that fire at every opportunity to mix metaphors here.
Yeah. Once we get to the season 6 summary, we'll talk about the ending and what they decided to do. And then there's this other guy, like the last third of the trifecta of the people who really ran the show is Carlton Cuse. I don't know that he's a great artist, but I think he's probably like a competent TV man. He's run a bunch of different shows. A lot of the shows that he has made have been absolute slop, including the Jack Ryan series. He made The Strain. I've never seen that. I've heard that might be okay. He's currently working on a 2026 show called Secret of Secrets, the latest thriller by friend of the pod, Dan Brown. So we'll be very much looking forward to that. Let's talk about our beautiful characters, because, you know, it's an ensemble cast. I think the show, in its best moments, is often more character-driven than plot-driven. I got a short list of characters to talk about. I think it's about 15 names long. So why don't we rapid fire through these? We got our main character, Dr. Jack Shepard. He's their leader. He's our handsome doctor, handsome spinal surgeon, actually.
You can tell he's the leader because he's got the name Shepard. Do you get it?
Everyone on this show is damaged, and which we'll talk about. But like his particular type of trauma is that he needs others to need him, which is why he became a spinal surgeon. He loves sacrificing himself for others.
He has an obsession with fixing things, fixing others, fixing problems, even at his own expense.
Exactly. And even if like the person is like, I'm good. Like I'm like chilling right now.
Bro, I'm fine.
And he's like, I'm opening your back and we're doing surgery right this instant. And it's like, why?
Yeah, Hurley, we are going to be we're going to give you a gastric sleeve on the island.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, dude, I'm fine.
Dude, I'm fucking hungry.
And I love that even Jack's blood type is in character on Lost. In the like ER episode of this show, Do No Harm, which we'll talk about later, he starts giving his own blood to Boone while he's needed to do surgery. He's a universal donor, he's O negative, which is hilarious that like even your blood type is in character.
In the initial draft, his name was Jesus Shepard, but they thought that was a little too on the nose, so they changed Jesus to Jack.
In the third season premiere, he's able to free Sawyer and Kate by sacrificing himself. The show ends with Jack sacrificing himself. That's when he's happiest. I think like most at peace. He's always uneasy, unhappy, unsatisfied.
Perpetual victim. It's like my mom. My mom's like that. Mom, I'm sorry, but it's true.
He's a man of science as well. I mean, this will change over the course of the show, but he's someone who believes in empiricism and evidence. Like he's not really into like the hokum of the island, which puts him in conflict with Locke. He steps up to be the leader. Once he is the leader, I think he's a little stubborn. He will tend to flex his authority over others. He's like, listen, I don't want this job. If you're going to give me leadership, then you have to do what I say.
Kim Jong-un style.
And would you believe it? He has major daddy issues. One of the characters on this show with major daddy issues. He reports his father for being drunk during surgery and killing someone. His father is also a spinal surgeon and drunk as hell. Christian Shepard.
God damn it. Yeah, that episode is called All the Best Cowboys Have Daddy Issues, is the name of the episode. It's so good because there's a scene where his dad's trying to get him to hide his fuck up. And he says, like, yes, I push you, son, and I sacrifice elements of our relationship to make you the best spinal surgeon you could be. And he puts his hand on his shoulder, and you see Jack is about to cry.
Yeah.
But then he finds out that it wasn't just a woman who died because his dad was drunk. It was also her unborn child. And in that moment, he sacrifices his own father and outs him. Then his father, I think, drinks himself to death in Sydney, Australia. He's dead in Australia. He's an alcoholic. And that is why Jack was on the flight from Australia to Los Angeles to like get his dead father that he helped get his medical license revoked.
This show is so cruel to its characters. I love that the one time that Jack's dad shows him any kind of I love you, son, is when he's like trying to manipulate him to get out of ratting on him for killing someone on the operating room. Like that's the one time you get affection from your father is when he's manipulating you. Oh man. All right, let's move on to our next character who is treated even more cruelly by the show. Mr. John Locke. I would say that he's kind of like the counterpart to Jack, right? He's a man of faith. He's not a man of science. He butts heads with Jack all the time over this, right? Because John Locke was in a wheelchair before he arrived on the island, and crashing restored the use of his legs for him. And so he has this innate faith in the island. He knows that it's special and like he should follow the spiritual guidance of the island. This is something we find out in Walkabout, which is season 1, episode 4. It's like the first episode that's better than the pilot is how I've heard it described, which I agree with. It's sort of the college, in The Sopranos, but for Lost. Yeah, he's a survivalist. He's in tune with the spirituality of the island.
Can I just say, this is like a little embarrassing, but it's the truth. One of the reasons why I applied to grad school is because of John Locke. I swear to God.
Really?
Yeah, because I think it was like kind of brainwashing me watching the show because I kept thinking about like fate and what you're supposed to be doing. And I've been wanting to go to grad school again for like a fucking minute, and I've just been putting it off. That and the combination of I went to a psychic and she,
wow, you're and
she told me it's time, and I said, you were perfect and correct. But I do think, because I couldn't stop watching the show. I was and like hearing fate every day and like hearing this in my head, I was like, I got to go to grad school. I got to go into debt right now.
You're supposed to do this.
So I'm going into debt because of John Locke. Yeah. 100%.
No one tells Sam what she can and can't do.
Except unless it's John Locke.
Unless it's a psychic.
Unless it's a psychic at the Ren Fair, actually.
At the Ren Fair.
Yeah. I loved her. She was so wise.
This is a ruining your life speed run, Sam.
She says I'm going to be a really good therapist. I'm going to be really successful. So
you will be, but yeah,
say what you fucking will.
Ben was in grad school for what, like 28 years or something like that.
It felt like it.
So Ben often talks shit about grad school on this podcast.
This is my second time going into grad school. So
right. Okay.
And yet here I am again.
It's you just have to believe the island of Manhattan will provide you with guidance.
Manhattan.
Manhattan. Long Island.
The island of Long Island. Staten Island.
This island is trying to tell me something, and it's Long Island. It's just like a slur. Sounds like it's Tim Dillon's voice in your head. That's the Man in Black. Okay, so Emily St. James has a take that John Locke is supposed to represent individualism and George Bush.
And George Bush. Interesting. Okay.
Well, yeah, because,
now we're cooking.
Well, because George Bush is like a guy who portrayed himself as being on like a ranch and whose life was made better by a plane crash, which she takes to mean 9/11.
Oh, she's being cuckoo head. She's taking some creative license, She's going a little nuts.
Well, it's like George Bush had 9/11 happen, and as a result, he had all of these increased powers to do whatever he wanted, like, invade Iraq or
walk again. Yeah.
Yeah, George Bush actually couldn't walk before 9/11.
Exactly. Famously.
Yeah, I love how in this reading, the equivalent of the Patriot Act and invading Iraq illegally is being able to walk.
Yes.
These are equivalent. Yeah.
Yes.
Does John Locke have daddy issues? Does he kind of fit
that
mold?
Yeah.
That's his whole... Oh, you're fucking around.
Oh, yeah.
What happens to him again?
His con man father tricks him out of a kidney.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Let me give the full backstory. His father, who walked out on him, comes back into his life, cons him out of a kidney, and then pushes him out of an 8-story window, paralyzing him.
It's so funny because the way the Locke episodes always work is Locke is very competent and confident on the island. He's got it together. And then when you see his life before the island, he's getting pushed over all the time. He's a broken man. And so it's always interesting to see that, like, flipping back and forth. Terry O'Quinn, I think, does a really good job of playing both of these people.
Yeah, one of the best actors on the show, by far.
Yeah, I think Ben Linus is better.
Let's do a rapid-fire biography of John Locke and every tragedy in his life, okay? So he never knows his parents, who walk out on him. He grows up in foster care. Like I just said, his father cons him out of a kidney, then pushes him out of an 8-story window, paralyzing him.
His father re-enters his life and is like, son, I'm sorry I missed the first 50 years of your life. Do you want to go hunting together? Like, he creates a relationship with his son.
Hey, come here. We're going to go hunting.
John Locke then works at a box factory where he's literally producing TPS reports.
They're called TPS reports, yeah.
He's bullied by a coworker in a super ableist way. His benefits get revoked because he won't go to therapy. He falls in love with a sex phone operator. He has one dream, which is to go on a walkabout in Australia, his lifelong dream, which he is prevented from doing due to being in a wheelchair. There's a bit where he works on a weed commune, and he accidentally tips the feds off to
He ruins
them.
the weed commune, yeah.
He ruins the weed commune.
Just one sad incident after another with this guy.
And the funniest little button, like, you might think there's no way this fucking show could torture this man any more than it could. But it is revealed that as a child in foster care, he had siblings that he was close to. And one of his siblings died in a tragic monkey bar accident.
Yeah, just
Many
one
such cases.
gutting experience after another for this man. It's so funny to see how cruel the writers are to John Locke.
Okay, let's move on to Sawyer.
Yes.
Maybe my favorite character, honestly.
He's certainly the funniest, I think. He's very well characterized.
He's a southern bad boy. He's caustic. He's mean. He's selfish at first, but he has a nice little arc. And we learn he's a con man with a heart of gold. A big thing about Lost is that every character was bad and flawed and broken in the real world, and they come to become better, fuller, richer versions of themselves on the island in almost all cases.
There's two formulas. It's like either you were bad and you learned to kind of become good on the island, or you were really good like Jack and it's revealed that you do bad things sometimes. I would say that everybody's kind of gray in this show. There's not a lot of like black and white characters.
A lot of nuance.
Yeah. But yeah, actually, he was supposed to have a Buffalo accent, but Josh Holloway was from the South and he couldn't do it. And J.J. Abrams was like, just be from the South. That's a better take for this character. A con man from Buffalo?
I don't even know what a Buffalo accent sounds like.
I think he's like a fan favorite. He's very funny. He's got a nickname for everybody, you know, Freckles, Doc.
I hated him for the
Shaft.
first like 2 seasons.
Really?
I was like, you're so fucking annoying.
Really?
Yeah, we get it. You're like a dick. Like, that's your whole thing. You're like a hot guy that's a dick. It's like, okay, I know the vibe. We get the vibe. But then he endears himself. He gets better. So.
Yeah. He was a former model, the actor who played Sawyer, not Sawyer himself. And this is like one of his first acting roles. The character of Sawyer is kind of the antagonist in like the first season. He hoards all the medicine. He makes fun of everybody. Like, I think the first scene of Sawyer is him trying to punch Sayid because he thinks Sayid was like a terrorist who blew up the plane, which is why they crashed. He antagonizes everybody. But I think eventually, especially once separated from Jack, ends up taking on more of a leadership role, and I think he has one of the best character arcs in the show. There's this line to Michael that he says in the second season where Michael's trying to rescue him and Sawyer's like, get out of here. If our positions were reversed, I would have left you behind. That's Sawyer, right? He's like very open and upfront about like how he's a fucking dick. But you get by the end of the show this transition to Sawyer where he's still salty, but he's now a little bit sweet, where like I think Ben Linus is taking away Hurley at one point in the 5th season and Sawyer yells at him, you harm one hair on his curly head and I'll kill you. Right? Where it's like he's still making fun of Hurley, but it's also in an endearing way.
He's got some major daddy issues because his father killed his mom in a murder-suicide after being conned out of a bunch of money, later revealed to actually be John Locke's father. Conned the family out of $38K, and Sawyer then, this is like his fucking villain arc. He takes on the name and profession of the con man who ruined his life.
Mm-hmm. Let's move on to Kate Austin.
Boo. No one enjoys the Kate episodes.
Everyone dislikes her.
Yeah.
But they made her so annoying. They made her like, she's so misunderstood. It's like, we get it. We get it. Nobody gets you, man. Whatever.
This show would get in trouble later for having a writer's room that was dominated by white guys. Like, apparently they would just like bully ideas that came from anyone else. And it really shows, I think, often in how good the characters are that aren't white guys. Like Kate, I think her backstory is interesting, but her actual characterization is very thin, you know?
I ended up really liking her in the end. But yeah, in the beginning, it's a struggle.
She's on the run after killing her stepfather. And if you were to describe her character, remember on the Star Wars episode, I talked about like the Qui-Gon Jinn rule of characterization, where if the main words used to describe your character are like stoic, stable, strong, that's a bad character. That means you really haven't done that much work. Those are probably the 3 words I would associate with Kate.
You think she's stable?
Like largely once she's on the island.
That's such a crazy
Once
thing to
they
say
get
to me.
off the island, she just takes care of Aaron. It's like Jack who's like losing his mind and like wants to go back.
I mean, I think her entire characterization is she's unstable and she's so self-indulgent about how misunderstood she is and how she's like this victim of this greater thing. But I'm not really a victim because I'm actually not. I'm so strong I could do it on my own. Blah, 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 blah. I don't think that person is stable. This is not a stable person. She's not mentally sound.
I think she's more mentally sound than like Jack, Locke, Sawyer.
That's very interesting to me.
She often challenges Jack in his leadership decisions, like in the episode where they're tracking.
She's a good person. She has a good moral compass. I mean, didn't she rob a bank to get like a little plane? Like that's not a normal person. That's not like a person
One of
who
the dumbest reveals.
That's not like a person who's doing well in life.
Kate on the island is like stoic, strong, stable. Kate in her backstory is like, yeah, sure, a messy bitch or whatever.
Little toy plane might have been a worthless toy plane in a security deposit box in a bank, but the sentimental value is through the roof.
Shut
you can't
up.
Put a dollar on that.
Shut
put a
up.
dollar amount on that.
Nobody does that. Nobody robs a bank to steal a toy plane that used to belong to their crush or whatever.
Would they make a guy do that? No.
Right. It's dumb as hell.
It's dumb.
The plan was for her to be the main character. They were going to kill off Jack in the pilot and put Kate in the leadership role.
They should have. I mean, they definitely should not have done that, but that would be really funny.
As much as I would have enjoyed seeing Jack die,
yeah, I know.
I probably do agree with that decision.
She's also often in a love triangle between Jack and Sawyer.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
Which is one of 2 love triangles that those 2 men get to be a part of, because later they get to be a part of a love triangle with a character named Juliet.
I think Kate should have always been with Sawyer. That's my personal.
I agree. Yeah. They just 100%. Seem like they have more in common.
Exactly. They just like Kate and Jack think each other are hot. Is that it?
That's about it. Oh, I mean, he's a handsome doctor, you know? Like, that's nice, I guess.
But like,
he's a leader.
Outside of that, like, what are we doing, guys?
I think she has more fun with Sawyer.
They're cut from the same cloth, you know?
Yeah. Would you believe that Kate also has daddy issues?
She's got daddy issues because her stepfather was abusive, and so she killed him. But then it's later revealed that her stepfather was actually her biological father, and she accidentally killed her own father. Straight up like a fucking Greek tragedy Oedipus-style plotline, but without the parent fucking.
Okay, moving on to Hugo Reyes, everybody's favorite comic relief character, played by Jorge Garcia. Big jolly guy, very informal, you know?
If he was skinny, would you call him jolly? Or do you think it's because he's a fat guy that you're immediately like, he's jolly?
I mean, he's the comic relief, right?
Yeah.
His whole thing is there's no situation where he won't use the word dude.
In the end, he is taking over the island.
Yes, that's true. He ends up being the steward of the island. Dude.
Yeah.
He's something of a moral compass, I think,
for sure.
all of our characters.
He's actually worth $150 million from winning the lottery. But
famously.
He ends up being cursed by the use of the numbers for financial gain. In very 2000s style, he drives a bright yellow Hummer, which is like the most quintessential American 2000s car. And there are a bunch of filler episodes about him dieting. In that Lost documentary, one of the writers, I think, was saying, like, yeah, you can tell how white the writer's room is because there's episodes about Hurley not losing weight because he's eating too much ranch dressing, you know, as like a Latino man.
There was like a big ranch dressing craze in the 2000s.
Was there?
Yeah.
Really?
Like people were like,
you would know more about that.
Why the fuck would I know? What is your problem? You're such a little, oh my God. Jeez Louise. No, but people were putting it in their like purse and they would take it everywhere because they have to have their ranch dress. Yeah, it was like a thing.
Really?
Yeah, it was a
Oh,
thing.
they were doing like the Hillary Clinton thing of like, I never go anywhere without my ranch
Exactly.
dressing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
It's the white people version of that.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that Beyonce lyric, "Hot sauce in my bag" swag. Is
That's-
fucking Hidden Valley in my bag.
That'd be
swag.
funny. Yeah, like Obama when he's like starting to do events in Iowa and he's like trying to ingratiate himself with the crowd. He's like, well, listen, I never go anywhere without this bad boy right here. This is the Hidden Valley. I put that shit on anything. Many of his plot-specific episodes, like when we get to see his flashbacks, are about his weight, which is so funny that people were so fixated with this. It doesn't really matter, right? Who cares? Yeah, like he's a guy. But like I saw an article in the Chicago Tribune, which is like a newspaper.
A real newspaper with the title, "Why Isn't Hurley Losing Any Weight?" Where like he speaks to like nutritionists about how this could be possible. They interviewed Damon Lindelof, which like ultimately ends the interview by saying something like, well, yeah, but like it's a magic island. You know, like, are you telling us this is some kind of magic island? The 2000s had very complicated relationships with weight.
What's his name? David Linden?
Lindelof, yeah.
I bet he's tall. Let's see.
But yeah, Hugo, he has normal style daddy issues. I think his dad just wasn't around. I never stole a kidney from him or anything.
Also 5'7".
Really? It's a Short King show.
Short King show.
Mm-hmm.
That adds another layer here. I think. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna think about
Yeah,
it,
it's
but
like
it does.
finding
There's
out
a different.
Caravaggio is only 5'6".
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Sun and Jin. I would say that they are like stoic, helpful,
Korean.
one of their character traits. Jin at first, I guess, is very protective. He's like very domineering and misogynistic with Sun. He's like always telling her to button her shirt back up, stop talking to the black guy. You know, he's very controlling in that first season.
Don't talk to the black guy.
I think that's, again, maybe the byproduct of like a white writer's room. But I think they had one or two Asian writers, actually. But it sounds like the environment they had in the writer's room was like, if you said something and you weren't a white guy, they were like, shut up. You know, is there any way you can make your idea a little whiter, please?
I do think that their arc was like one of the most beautiful.
They have the highest hit rate. I would say, like, if you want to watch a random episode, if you put on a Sun and Jin episode, it's pretty safe that it's going to be a good one.
Them dying was like,
oh yeah, them drowning in the submarine.
Oh my God. I was sobbing.
Yeah?
Yeah, that killed me.
I didn't want them to die. I mean, I guess that's a normie-ass response.
I didn't want it. Yeah.
Yeah, but why does Kate have to survive? I want Sun and Jin to make it out, you know?
Yeah, I mean, huge respect to this show for putting a whole bunch of Korean with subtitles.
Yes.
Like, that's
On
on
a
a network
show.
TV. That rocks. And yeah, they have like arcs where you see the early stage of their relationship where Sun is the daughter of a Korean crime boss, character of privilege, and Jin is a working class guy who falls madly in love. It's forbidden love. It can't be. They're from two different worlds. And he basically sacrifices himself by working for Sun's crime boss father, becomes an enforcer, becomes a monster, becomes cruel and domineering. And then their relationship has a renaissance on the island.
Yeah, so he doesn't have daddy issues. Well, he does have daddy issues because he's ashamed of his father.
Correct.
But mostly he has father-in-law isures.
Sun definitely has.
Sun does, yeah.
I'm noticing a theme.
Yeah, this show could have been called Daddy Issues. We're running long. Let's skip over Claire.
She's pregnant.
She's not a great character. Yeah, she's pregnant. She's worried about my baby.
She's worth mentioning just because she was clearly an afterthought of this writer's room. Like, we got to put a pregnant lady on this plane. That'll ratchet up the tension. Imagine being pregnant on a deserted island. And then they didn't know what to do with the character because all they had was pregnant lady.
Yeah.
And so they write her out of the show eventually.
They do. They're like, yeah, she just decides to wander into the forest and she doesn't come back for a couple seasons.
She does. Yeah, she comes back eventually, but
yeah.
Her daddy issues are just that she is the illegitimate daughter of Kristen Shepard. So she and Jack are actually half siblings.
Yeah. So they share
We're
a
going to get to
daddy.
this later, but maybe you've noticed from our plot summary that all of these motherfuckers are like related to each other in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
this is a show about incest, ultimately.
Yeah, actually, explicitly with Shannon and Boone, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Shannon and Boone, they're like California rich step siblings. This was a very common archetype in the 2000s we've noticed. Remember we talked about this on Snakes on a Plane? Like the Paris Hilton, dumb California airhead They were always fitting this in as like an archetype. One of my favorite movies, Two Broke White Girls. And what is the movie?
White Chicks?
White Chicks.
Oh, wow. That was
one of my favorite movies, White Chicks.
What
is
a
about
way to
this
say
archetype.
it. Okay.
Yeah, Two Broke White Chicks. Shannon is like tanning. Her episodes are about her like feeling bad that she doesn't have any skills, but then you find out she speaks French. So
And she can tie sailor knots because she's dated so many men with sailboats.
what's her daddy issues again?
The car crash that cripples Jack's future wife was the same one that kills one of the parents of Shannon and Boone, which leads to their parents getting married. They're not biologically related step siblings, but they meet as adults and basically have like a porn style plot line in which there's like step sibling love that happens.
Right. Yeah, they fuck each other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's talk about Sayid Jarrah next. Well, fan favorite, I'd say.
Do you think he's a fan favorite?
I don't know. He's one of my favorites.
He's one of my favorites. But I have this
He's
theory.
one of my favorites. Yeah.
Wait, okay, so obviously I wasn't around for Lost. I was dead during the time of Lost. But I feel like people didn't like him when it first came out because of 9/11 racism.
Right.
But I think he's one of the best. He's my favorite character.
He's your favorite character?
Yeah, he's definitely my favorite character.
I think they did him dirty kind of in the end.
My God. The last like season or two, it's terrible.
It's one of the complaints people give about the show is that like all of the non-white characters end up sacrificing themselves so that the white characters can live in the end. So his backstory is that he was a torturer for the Republican Guard, for a friend of the pod, Saddam Hussein's government. And he gets put in a position where he has to torture his like childhood crush, and he lets her go and helps kill people to let her go, and then ends up falling in love with her. And that's sort of his reason for wanting to get off the island, is to be with Nadia again. And then he gets off the island and Nadia is immediately hit by a car.
They get to be married for 8 months.
Okay.
The happiest 8 months of Saeed's life before she's hit by a car and dies.
Right. But yeah, I think in general, his character is like, he's nice, he's helpful, he is capable of violence. They do use him as a torturer often.
He's just super pragmatic, which I like. Like, he's just very much like, this is what we do, the end, period. This is how we fix it, the end, period. And then he just does it. Everyone else is like, I don't know, I'm scrambling. He's just like, I'm doing this now. And it's great.
He has a vast array of skills because he was in the army. He can fix radios. He can fix the 1980s computer they have in the hatch. He can cauterize wounds with gunpowder because he was in the army, you know?
The elite army of Iraq that just kept losing all those wars. I remember thinking at the time that there was a comparison to be made between Lost and the 1960s Star Trek, where in the 1960s Star Trek, at like the height of the Cold War, we have a Russian guy, we have a Japanese guy 20 years after World War II has ended, we have a black woman on the deck of the Enterprise, and of course we have an alien, and we have space racism. So like it's a multiracial, multi-ethnic cast who are all working together towards a common goal. And I remember thinking like Lost is kind of like our 2000s version of that, right? Where we have an Iraqi, and we got people from all across the country, got a fat guy. But they cast an Iraqi at the height of the war on terror. And instead of like positive representation, they're like, oh, what was his job? Oh, yeah, he worked in the torture prison. Like that was his job.
Yeah. Very funny that like while America is doing torture.
It wasn't super believable, but I did like that they tried it. The whole love thing with Shannon and him.
Yeah.
It's a love story.
Right.
Because that was probably forbidden at that time.
True.
Arab guy with white woman.
Yeah, the whitest woman on the island.
Yeah. A beloved white woman was soiled.
The Paris Hilton of the island.
Yeah.
You know,
They tried a
killed
little
her off. They're
something.
like, people can't keep watching this. You know, we'll get too many letters.
And then in the series finale, when they're all waiting at the church to leave purgatory and go to heaven or whatever, they have Shannon come back and stand with Sayid. And I'm like, wait, wasn't your whole deal that the love of your life was Nadia instead of like this
Yeah,
white
where
woman
the hell
that you
is
knew for a little
Nadia?
bit on a beach?
Yeah, is it Nadia? Well, I guess she was hit by a car in this side universe, though. But yeah, I mean, he's got two loves of his life. But they had an Indian guy playing Iraqi, which is kind of funny that they can do that. How do you feel about that?
Who gave
Sam?
them the right to do?
Yeah.
I have no opinion. I think, I mean, I don't know. I guess that's like incorrect, but I don't think he looks particularly Indian. If he looked like super, super Indian and he was playing an Arab guy, then it would be kind of like, all right, guys, come on, cut that out.
The accent is weird because it's like
Yeah.
low-key British, but
Yeah.
he hits those rolled R's with a lot of, puts a lot of tahini on those rolled R's if you catch what I mean here.
Yeah, I mean, it's the 2000s.
Right.
We did our best.
True. I like often I was giving the show a pass where I'm like, you know what? For the time,
This was like cutting edge, I feel.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, we were creating the wheel with Sayid and Charlie.
His particular type of daddy issues, he's got a very harsh father that would make him and his brother kill chickens, I think. But more normal style daddy issues, certainly, than John Locke and Jack Shepard.
And his father likes him better than his sibling.
Right.
I love the idea that it's normal style because the dad makes him kill chickens. Like it's a normal dad thing.
My no-no made my dad do that all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so specific.
You're just being anti...
Go ahead, please. We're wondering where we're going with this. Yeah. Let's see. Where are we going to take us, Giordano?
Maybe you're just being like modernist.
So Michael and Walt.
Oh, we skipped Charlie.
We did skip Charlie. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
How did we miss Charlie Pace? Fading rock star, modeled after Oasis. He's fighting with his brother all the time. You know, he's from Manchester.
I have a friend who thinks he's like the most good-looking guy ever, which is so crazy to me. I know. I don't agree. I just think it's interesting.
She wants to fuck hobbits. She's got like a...
Yeah. Literally. She was like, yeah, when he was like a hobbit and whatever, she was like, I thought he was the hottest guy ever. And that's why I watched Lost, because I liked him as a hobbit.
Leave her contact info for listeners of the show.
Okay, I will do. Yeah.
He's got that real British, Irish style aging. The show takes place over 7 years. And so you can see in the final season when they're supposed to go back, Dominic Monaghan looks so much older. He's doing an avocado style speed run of aging. But yeah, he's sticks to heroin. That's kind of his primary character trait. I would say that in general, he's also like very funny, caustic. In that first episode, even with Jack and Kate, he's always like, I'm Charlie, by the way. Like, don't forget about me, because they're just focusing on each other because they're building romance.
He's really kind. He wants to take care of Claire, the pregnant lady.
Oh my
He's
God.
extremely kind, and he's also extremely insecure because he's the little brother.
Right.
You know, he's a fading rock star. He was in a band called Drive Shaft, a one-hit wonder. Imagine Oasis,
everybody.
but worse. Yes, their one track is called You All Everybody.
Take all of those scenes with him and Claire, put them right in the garbage. No, thank you.
Oh, come on. But the most famous episode of Lost is the Charlie.
Not with Claire, but yeah. It
True,
is.
not with Claire.
Him and Desmond.
Yeah.
Yeah, not Penny's boat. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Oh,
Probably the one thing that people remember the most.
I cried at the Charlie death.
I once again cried again. All I did was cry. It turned on and I would cry. So
it's just like 10,000 conversations between him and Claire where he's like, I'm going to keep you safe. I'm going to keep you and the baby safe. That's Claire. That's typically Australian. Anyway, awful stuff.
Hold on, we almost forgot. He's got daddy issues because his father doesn't believe in him.
He's like, this music stuff is never going to make a difference in your life.
But he's mostly got brother issues because he feels really insecure compared to his older brother.
Well, he tried to stop his brother from doing heroin. Then he got addicted to heroin. And then his brother got clean. He feels like left out.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to Michael and Walt. This is the daddy issues happening in real time. These are two of the worst characters on the show, and it's not the actor's fault. It's just like the writers didn't know what to do with a child actor who was getting older faster than the real character was. Lindelhoff and the other writer, I can't remember his name, but in interviews say like, we fucked up. Like, this is just us not being good enough writers to figure out what to do with Michael and Walt, with him getting braces and getting taller.
Yeah, Michael is a father who went to Australia to pick up his estranged son after mom dies. All show Michael is just saying, where's Walt? Because Walt gets kidnapped. He is fixated with getting his son back, and he does some dark, fucked up shit to do it. But he's really a one-note fucking character, which is like, I'm trying to be a good father to a kid I barely know, and I'm not. He got kidnapped on my watch. Yeah, it just gets worse.
Yeah. I think he's a good character in the first season, but they just fucked it up. Mr. Echo, one of the few tailies that I think is memorable. These are passengers from the tail end of the plane that get introduced in season 2.
do you like him as a character?
Yeah, I did actually.
Every guy I speak to is like, this is my favorite character.
It's because he's badass. He has a big stick that he hits people with. He's got a cool backstory where he's a Nigerian drug-dealing priest. That's sick, dude. You've never seen that before.
One of many Christians, strong Christians on this show. He unfortunately has to be written off because the actor playing Mr. Echo, like his foster parents were sick and he wanted to live in England. And so they had to like abruptly write him off. And I don't think they were ready to, especially because they had just written off Michael. The show gets criticized for being racist a lot. And with Michael and Mr. Echo, like they did kind of have their hands forced a little bit by not knowing what to do with a child actor who was getting older. And then Mr. Echo just abruptly quitting the show.
Yeah, this was before woke. We can just kill off all the black people and...
They did try, is what I'm saying. But like, you know, they kind of didn't know what to do with these variables.
The show also needed to find ways to bring in fresh blood every season. That's what Jordan just mentioned, the tailies. So season 2 introduces new survivors from a different section of the plane. And as we will see, each new season finds some stupid hack way to bring people onto the island, like Gilligan's Island trying to find a guest star for an individual episode.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is that you want to be able to do flashbacks, right? But you start really running thin with the flashbacks by like seasons 2 or 3. Remember, there's 24 episodes per season. And so it's like, we can't do 3 John flashbacks episodes a season by season 3 or 4.
There's no more tragedies we can give this man.
Yeah. So season 2 is the tailies. Season 3 is the others. Season 4 is like the people on the freighter. And then season 5 is like flash forwards. But they just kind of fumble Mr. Echo, I think. But let's talk about Desmond Hume.
Yes.
We have 2 more characters here. Desmond is so fucking stupid. Like one of my favorite dumb characters of the entire show. He gets introduced in season 2. He's the guy in the hatch. He's been in charge of pressing the numbers for 2 years or whatever. He's just been in the hatch, putting the numbers in. He's a Scottish guy who was formerly in a monastery and the English Special Forces. Like, literally has like a Barney Stinson style backstory, but it's true, actually. And he's also the dumbest man on the planet. I say he's the dumbest person on the show because his whole story is that Penny is the love of his life. He's hopelessly devoted to her. This is his constant in his life. He wants to be with Penny forever. And he breaks up with her. Now, why, you might ask, right? Why does he break up with the love of his life?
Why? Why does he do it?
Because her father doesn't believe in him. Her father believes that he's not worthwhile as a dating prospect because of his class status or just like general accomplishments in life.
Yeah, there's a scene where he's like looking over his resume or whatever. He's like, oh, no military service, eh? And that's like what motivates Desmond to join the fucking army. Like,
he's so stupid. Imagine being with the love of your life and her father is like, no military service, eh? And you're like, I need to join the army right now. This is his words. He says, I need to win my honor back.
He's a hopeless romantic.
So anyway, he breaks up with her in order to join a race around the world sponsored by her father. The thinking is, if I win her father's race around the world, sailing race around the world, then he'll finally accept me.
I'll be back in a year.
What if you were back right now?
I'm going to win this race, babe. His race.
Desmond, what are you running from?
I have to get my honor back.
I'm sorry, that's fucking stupid.
he's a very impressionable young man. I forget, how exactly did he get delegated the task of hitting the button once he lands on the island? Like, who told him, Desmond, you need to hit this button every 108 minutes?
They just like found him after he like fell off the boat, I think, or whatever.
Yeah, it's the actor who plays Mr. Krabs, Clancy something. He's just also in the hatch and he's like, yeah, I found you and now you're my partner in this. And then one day
we gotta hit this button.
One day he just like runs away.
Okay, brother.
He's like,
I'll
okay,
do what you tell me.
Yeah. And he just does it for like 2 years. Every 108 minutes, presses the button. And Jack's like, you ever think about not doing this? And he's like, every fucking day. And then the one day he doesn't press the button, actually, he causes the plane crash. But he's such a fucking lovable goober.
He's a handsome Scottish man. That does a lot of work. I never realized he was an idiot. I thought he was just like a free spirit.
I thought he was a smart guy. That's a PhD guy.
Yeah, a guy who breaks up with the love of his life to join a sailboat race around the world to impress her father is a smart man.
Yeah.
Too.
He's a bit of a twist on an old classic because Desmond doesn't have daddy issues. He has father-in-law issues that he needs to resolve.
Yeah, I will point out the exact same father-in-law issues as Jin, right? It's like my romantic partner's father looks down on my class status. They're kind of reusing a classic here. which I was like not impressed by.
Not impressed by Desmond.
I was like, come on, can we come up with like a different thing than like, oh, I'm too poor
Who's your
for her
favorite
daughter?
character?
Well, you want to talk about him right now? We'll talk about Ben Linus.
All right, let's talk about Ben Linus, then we'll circle back.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's played by the best actor. In terms of describing his character, he's like very manipulative, very self-serving. He's able to act very traumatized and assured when he needs to. And the actor who plays him, Michael Emerson, he has like these insane blue eyes, and he'll just like have his mouth agape. And he just like stares at you like you've just done something horribly wrong.
He's the most believable in his character. Like,
Yeah.
it just seems like him.
It contributes to his manipulativeness quite a bit. It's the closest thing we have to like a villain on Lost, right? Like after Sawyer.
In a show where nobody knows what the fuck is going on, Ben Linus has more information than anyone. And he's always lying. So you have this massive power dynamic in terms of how he can manipulate people. You have more knowledge and you can lie. You are unstoppable on this island.
And we learn later that he often doesn't know everything, but he knows more than you. And so he can pretend to know everything.
What's that guy's name? Carlton Hughes. Yeah. He was saying that he was originally supposed to only be on Ben Linus for like 2 episodes. And then he was acting in it. And they were writing at the same time that they had to act. So it was kind of like short. And they were just like, he's amazing. So they just kept him in and he stayed through the whole thing.
Yeah, in terms of the plot, he's the leader of the others, which we'll talk about shortly. But they're the existing settled people of the island. And we talk about his daddy issues. I mean, how long you got, pal? Ben Linus kills his father. Another guy who killed his father on the show.
Is Damon Lindelof okay?
Yeah.
Do we need to send him to therapy?
His dad was in the Dharma Initiative and had like a wrong kid died outlook, but instead of wrong kid died, it's like Ben's mother died giving birth to him and his dad never forgives him for it, which is his particular type of trauma. I'll just introduce the Dharma Initiative as a concept. It's not a character, but there's a lot of people who are part of the Dharma Initiative. In general, they are a 1970s research commune sent to investigate the island from the University of Michigan. They're there to investigate the number, the Vanzetti equation. They basically want to see if scarcity on Earth is caused by this Vanzetti equation. You know, what is it? 2, 4, 8, 15, 23, 42.
4, 8, 15, 16, 23.
4, 8, 15. And they're trying to see if there's a way around the scarcity by investigating stuff on the island. But it's funny because they were set up like in the 1970s. And so like there's so many aesthetics on the show that are driven by that I think are really cool. Like the analog computers and technology, the Dharma Initiative beer, and like in general, the set design is from the 1970s, which I think is cool.
It's also this really convenient plot excuse where it lets the show get away from the survivor elements of where are they getting their food, where are they getting their water. They find these abandoned research stations with a whole bunch of shelf-stable food like fucking peanut butter and ranch dressing. And so they can get away from that day-to-day and get into more wacky sci-fi plot lines.
And they can always introduce a new research station for like whatever plot they want to do.
All right, having laid out our ensemble cast, let's do plot recaps of each of the 6 seasons, because Lost is a show that evolves and changes over the course of its run. From what is originally kind of a survival show to something very science fiction heavy to something kind of metaphysical and supernatural all at once. So we're going to do broad strokes summaries of each season, starting with Season 1.
Like I said, they were trying to model something off of the success of Castaway and Survivor. So it's the most grounded in that experience, I would say. A lot of it is like, where are we going to get water? Where are we going to get food? Where are we going to make camp? You know, they decide on making camp partly between like the beach and the caves, which I think is almost 100% because they're like, we got to film some of this on a soundstage. We can't film all of this outside. But yeah, they're doing the desert island fantasy. They got the monkey butler, this, you know, like they're hunting boar, they're playing golf, they're making a raft. It's all the stuff you want from like a desert island TV show. There's no gods yet.
There is some interpersonal drama all the time around like who's going to be leader, what are their decisions going to be. Of course, the aforementioned love triangle, you know, a classic survival thing. Like maybe the thing we really need to worry about is each other. Oh, look, Kate's a fugitive. Is she dangerous? Oh, look, Sawyer's hoarding all the stuff and we need the stuff for the greater good. These are the types of conflicts that arise.
And the type of mysteries they're asking is like, what is the smoke monster, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why does Jack see his dead father sometimes in the forest?
Why is there a polar bear?
Why is there a polar bear? Right, exactly. And they discover the hatch this season, about midway through the season. And then finally, in the season finale of season 1, they blow the door off of it. And just as you're about to descend down the hatch, boom. That's it. You got to wait a year. Shout out to shows, by the way, coming out yearly back then and doing 24 episodes a year. Truly, like, we live in the ruins of a greater civilization sometimes. Like, now shows take like years to come out and there's like 6 episodes.
And the only other thing I would add for season 1 is that this show does not pull any punches in terms of its willingness to kill off characters, which I think it needs to do to keep the dramatic tension up. So in that first season, we have the death of Boone, and that's it. Shayna doesn't get it till season 2.
All right.
But, right? Does anyone else die in season 1? I don't think so.
I don't think
not
so.
Not really. Like, no one important. Season 2 starts with, okay, we've just blown open the doors to the hatch. Let's figure out what's in here. And you find out who's down there but Desmond Hume, a Scottish guy pushing the button to avoid the world ending every 108 minutes. And so a lot of the conflict this season is like John and Jack debating if this button is nonsense. Will this actually do anything if we don't do it? And, you know, the season will actually end with them finally making the decision to see what happens when they don't. At one point, I think someone delivers the line, we're going to see what happens if we don't push that button. And that's such a great encapsulation of what Lost is all about, you know?
Free will versus fate.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So freaking true.
Yeah, so freaking true. Fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji, 100, 100, 100.
We meet the tail survivors, as we mentioned earlier. So now we can start getting flashbacks from other people, thank God. People like Mr. Echo, people like Ana Lucia. And we learn about the others, these mysterious people who also live on the island. You know, they've been fucking with our normal cast a little bit, but they've actually been screwing with the tailies a lot more. They've been making life hell for the tailies this whole time. Mm-hmm. And Ben Linus, you know, the villain of the show, who becomes one of the main characters, he actually infiltrates our crew in this season, posing as a guy who crashed his hot air balloon.
Yeah. That was one of the big twists also in season 1, is that there's a guy who's not on the manifest. One of the major twists that you have, a guy named Ethan. The others were gestured to a little bit in the first season, and they abduct Walt in the season 1 finale. And then season 2, we really get to see a lot more others content, especially the character of Ben Linus.
Throughout the season, actually, like Michael, in an attempt to get my son back, he kills Ana Lucia and Libby. 2 of like the beloved.
So it's like characters we didn't describe in our comprehensive list of characters.
It's just there's too many people. There's so many characters that like by the 6th season you're like, who is this again? Mm-hmm. They wrote Michael so poorly that not only did they ruin that character, but on his way out he also like kills 2 characters that they might have been able to run with.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle Rodriguez is very good on this show, I think.
I mean, she's a bitch, you know.
Well, she's like but she's a bitch whose like paranoia is informed by her experience on the island.
You liked her as a character?
I think she's their Jack, I guess, right? And like,
I think she's horrible.
Really? Oh, okay.
She's not likable at all.
Yeah, but I think that's the point, because they've been so traumatized by the others that that's why she's horrible.
Yeah, but she was also like, when they do the flashback, she's
a cop.
She's like a really shitty cop too. She's not a likable person.
I like that she's sort of an anti-hero cop in the sense that like, yeah, she's a bad cop.
I don't think they fleshed her out enough, actually, in my opinion. They fleshed out everyone, but I don't think they fleshed her out enough.
Well, they had Michael kill her shortly after she's introduced. So, okay, so season 2 ends. They're finally not going to press the button. And what happens? Not much, really, honestly. The earth shakes, the sky goes white, the hatch explodes. Desmond puts a key into the hatch, which I think stops the world from ending. But it's just funny because this whole season you've been wondering, like, will the world really end if they don't press the numbers? And it turns out, no, the world won't end, actually. It's just like there'll be a localized explosion, but nothing really that bad happens.
Because he put his key in the failsafe, which does raise the question, why didn't he do that years ago?
Right, yeah. Wasted my life.
Didn't he like try to, and then the guy died? The Mr. Krabs guy? Whatever, I don't know his name.
Mr. Krabs. He didn't, and then it causes the plane to crash.
But why did that guy die? I thought it had something to do with...
I think he runs away.
I thought he killed him or something.
Desmond doesn't kill him. I think he's trying to find someone new to take his job so that he can stop doing
maybe he
this.
Killed himself.
That's the previous guy. He shoots himself with a shotgun.
There's so many guys, you know?
There's too many guys on the show.
Yeah.
Mr. Krabs.
Oh my God.
You gotta push the button, SpongeBob. So season 3 opens, and this is where the show starts to go off the rails. Like I mentioned, they separate the seasons into like before and after the new year, and the first 6 come before the new year, and the audience drops by a third, which is bad in TV terms. They lose like 6 million viewers permanently. And Damon Lindelof takes this evidence to ABC to be like, listen, guys, you got to give me an end date. We don't know what we're doing here anymore. I'm really spinning my wheels. We're treading water with these characters, right? Like plot-wise, Jack, Kate, Sawyer, Sayid are all in captivity by the others. And so they're just like in a cage. Jack's been kidnapped because Ben Linus needs back surgery. And so Jack does the surgery on Ben in order to secure the release of his friends. And he actually cuts Ben's kidney open to get a little bit more leverage over them. Let's see. What else is worth saying this season? Like I said, these seasons start to get less fun to watch.
We start to get more woo-woo sci-fi elements. So we find that the island fucks with women's fertility.
Yes.
So like, what do the others want? They want to kidnap pregnant ladies. Their only doctor is a fertility doctor named Juliet, who will become a cast regular.
Children and pregnant ladies, yeah.
Season 3, like they were like in the cages or whatever, right?
The first 6 episodes, yeah.
I think the love story between Sawyer and
Oh, that's still going on, yeah.
Kate starts heating up a bit more.
Jack watches Sawyer and Kate have sex on camera.
Which leads him to go more towards Juliet.
Right.
The middle really lags, but towards the end, we finally get to focus more on rescue, right? At this point in the show, John Locke is like a religious zealot who absolutely does not want to leave the island at any cost, and only some other characters have their eye on the prize of getting off the island. And so they have a plan where there's a boat 80 miles off the coast. Someone parachutes in to the island and says, hey, there's a boat. We're here to rescue you or whatever. And the season finale involves them fighting the others with some dynamite. It involves them turning off Ben Linus and the others' jamming signal because the others don't want to be found, and calling this boat so that they can finally be rescued. It is an incredible 2-part season finale of television. Unquestionably some of the best the show ever does.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in our episode highlights because it's probably the best finale, I think.
Yeah. And Charlie dies turning off the jammer. It's very emotional. And his final act is to write on his hand in a Sharpie, not Penny's boat, put it up against the porthole. So he dies warning them that these people on the freighter are not who they say they are. And the major twist of the season is that for fucking 30-something episodes, we've had flashbacks in every single episode. And now we get a flash forward. We see what life is like for some of our survivors after they've left the island. And it ends with Jack shouting at Kate, we have to go back.
In classic Lost fashion, they don't really tell you that until the last moment, right? So Jack has a beard, and you're wondering, like, when did Jack have a beard in his past? Like, where does this flashback fit into his life? You don't know it's a flash forward. And then he meets Kate, and you realize, ooh, this happened after the island. And Jack's yelling, we have to go back. Okay, we have to go back to the island. And that's kind of the moment that this season ends on. With blew Ben and I's mind in high school.
Yes.
Yeah, they freaking got off the island and now they have to go back? Mm-hmm. What the hell?
You said it just like that, right?
Yeah. That's doing an impression of myself at 16.
We also get a little bit more lore where we find out that Ben was originally part of the Dharma Initiative and he killed all the Dharma Initiative people with a gas attack and joined the others. And we get a little bit more leadership politicking where John Locke, as a true believer, he's like jockeying for leadership of the others with Ben Linus. And we get a little bit more of this lore where the others seem to serve some kind of god spirit of the island named Jacob. I believe it's in season 3 where we start to really get some Jacob name drops.
We get that spooky scene in the cabin with Locke and Ben Linus where they're like speaking to Jacob. Very, very cool scene. I'll just mention too, they give you a little bit of lore on the Dharma Initiative. We learned that Ben Linus was a part of the Dharma Initiative as a child and then killed them all with gas, allowing the others to move into their camps and facilities. Yeah. They kill all the Dharma people. Season 4. This whole season is about finally getting off the island. This is what happens in the season finale. And so you go from learning that the boat is here and isn't who they say they are to getting off the island.
Yeah, that's one plot line. And then this season is punctuated by all the flash forwards. So we get revealed piecemeal that only 6 of our survivors make it off the island, the Oceanic 6. So you have 2 stories in parallel, getting off the island in the on-island timeline, and then getting back to the island in the off-island timeline.
They get off the island and ultimately decide to go back because they want to like save the people that are still there. You also learn that they're lying about their experience on the island. They said that they just were on a regular island. None of this really makes sense, I don't think.
It kind of makes sense that they wanted to end it because like they got off the island, like the end.
Yeah,
and now
true.
you can tell that they were really just kind of like we're just going to roll with this, I guess, now.
This season also ends with them creating like Rick and Morty style alternate realities, right? Like Ben Linus moves the island using like a mythical wheel underneath the island.
It sucks so bad. Even as a moron teenager, I remember this scene being the moment when I thought that the show jumped the shark, where Ben Linus crawls into a cave on this tropical island and everything is icy. He's wearing a parka and he moves this wooden wheel like a fucking 19th century ship steering wheel, but horizontal. And he pushes and like there's a flash of light and the island disappears through time and space. And I'm like, this is a fucking Castaway show 4 seasons ago. How did we get here?
Right. So season 5 continues on that track. It becomes fully like a sci-fi type show. You know, Ben and I, we just did a Lord of the Rings episode, and we're talking about how in order to enjoy that, you have to buy into like a world in which there's a mythology where people will like with a straight face say lines like Flame of Udun. You know, This is season 5 is a real Flame of Udun style season. Everything is so seeped in mythology and lore and world building that you really have to buy into it if you're going to enjoy it.
Because at this point, the people who are left on the island, like Sawyer and Juliet and Jin and various other characters, not only are they still on the island, they're also in 1977 or whatever. And they're with the Dharma Initiative back then.
Well, because the island starts skipping in time, right? Like after he turns the wheel, the island becomes unstable. It's skipping through time. And so Locke eventually fixes it, but it fixes the island in 1974. And so like, yeah, Sawyer, Jin, Juliet are forced to live in the 70s. And there's this brilliant episode, actually, LaFleur. I think probably the best episode after season 5 starts, which is about Sawyer just sinking into 1974 and living there for 3 years. And it's almost like a Star Trek episode, like what was it, The Hidden Light, that episode of TNG. But yeah, Sawyer falls in love with Juliet and is actually like happy with his life in like 1970s Dharmaville, as he calls it, which is interesting. I think he grows a lot as a person in that one episode. Jin learns English for the rest of the show, actually, in this episode too.
Sawyer also just becomes like top dog.
True.
He becomes like Jack, basically.
Yeah, Jack was holding him back this whole time. This was the Sawyer he was meant to be.
In the flash forwards, eventually our Oceanic
Everybody
Six
comes
get
back. Who
together.
cares? This shit sucks.
Everybody comes together. They go back. Sorry, what?
I said this shit sucks. Who cares? Yeah. It has to be done. Through hook or by crook, all of them end up getting back to the island. Sometimes through manipulation by Ben Linus. Sometimes by manipulation through somebody else.
John Locke just being a nut job.
Right. They need to all be together in order to find the new island's location, essentially. And so they use Daniel Faraday's mother, and they get everybody back on a plane.
They end up back in the island. They're in the 1970s. They need to do something. I forget what they need to do with the island now. I think they have this idea to detonate a hydrogen bomb at the site of where the hatch will be to get back to their regular time, I think, is why they're doing it.
Yeah, the hatch exists because while doing an experiment on the island's electromagnetism, they drill into it and it causes the incident. And you know, it creates this instability. And it's the reason why the hatch exists, to lock in this electromagnetism every 108 minutes. And so Jack's brilliant idea, because I think Faraday introduces it, but we're going to take this hydrogen bomb that the U.S. military has left here for some reason, and we're going to detonate it into the site of the electromagnetism. And this is going to destroy the island. And as a result, our plane will never crash.
We're dealing with fucking time paradoxes and time loops and all this shit. And so the season ends with them blowing up this hydrogen bomb. Also, throughout this season, there's a whole bunch of John Locke shit. John Locke is unceremoniously killed, but they want to keep the actor around, so they have the Man in Black. The Man in Black is Jacob's adversary and is also the smoke monster. It's all bullshit. It all fucking sucks. Like Giordano said, whatever, who cares?
John Locke's Terry O'Quinn, the actor, he's very, very good. Like when he is the smoke monster, he does not seem like John Locke, which is crazy.
Yeah, he's like a little bit different.
Yeah, he does a good job.
And people point this out to him. There's a lot of meta commentary, I would say, from the characters often. It's one of the things they kind of do well. But yeah, because what's happening simultaneously to them detonating the hydrogen bomb is that the Man in Black, the like evil god on the island, has tricked Ben Linus into killing Jacob. So this happens simultaneously in the finale. They destroy the island in 1974, but then in 2007 or 5, the Man in Black kills Jacob.
Yes.
End of season.
And we finally get to the last season, the worst one, where we've done flashbacks, we've done flash forwards, now we get flash sidewayses, where we still have island time. We still have island plot line, where they've like detonated the hydrogen bomb and now they're back in the 2000s. And then the flash sideways are showing a parallel universe where everything's a little bit different. Like Flight 815 never crashed. They all made it to Los Angeles. Charlie's still a drug addict. Hurley thinks he's the luckiest man in the world instead of being cursed by his lottery winnings. Everything is ever so slightly different, and you're just left scratching your head as to what's going on.
In the Flash Sideways, Hurley's character is completely different. He's like a very competent, normal guy, and not like a guy who's had a bunch of sad stuff happen to him. He's not a goober anymore, like a boob. It's revealed that this Flash Sideways universe is like a waiting room for the afterlife, right? Mm-hmm. Do I have that right?
Yep.
And so they need to all come together at a church to sort of do a send-off. But meanwhile, back on the island, after the nuclear bomb goes off, it actually doesn't destroy the island. Like those characters continue living on the island, but I think the year jumps to 2007. And so now it's all about the Man in Black versus Jacob. The Man in Black as John Locke is leading them. Every fucking episode, they're walking around the island. They're going to the temple. They're going to the source of all life. They're trying to take a cork off of the spiritual center of the world.
It sucks so bad.
I feel like describing it sucks really bad.
It really does.
But when you're in it, when you're watching it, me personally, I'm like, this is so fucking true. I'm like, this is real. This is
some real shit.
They gotta
right
really do this. Like they have no choice. Otherwise, the world is over, basically. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like Lost is just better to be enjoyed. Sometimes you just gotta just do it, if that makes sense. You gotta be absorbed in the world. Because once you're absorbed in the world, you're just like, yeah, correct.
You have to buy into the mythology.
100%.
Unfortunately. I would say that it's high sci-fi at this point. It's crazy that this was like a network TV show for a broad audience. Because at this point, you got to be a nerd to enjoy this.
Yeah, I mean, I think this season is like splitting hairs here. I think this one is a little bit closer to fantasy, although we still have parallel universes. But the fact that we have a metaphysical battle between the forces of light and darkness, of good and evil, that culminates in Jack having to put what is basically a large stone dildo in a hole to save the world from like nebulous darkness escaping. It's this idea that the island has this perpetual battle between Jacob and the Man in Black. It's like Zoroastrianism, forces of light, forces of darkness, and they have these rules where they can't touch each other. That's why the Man in Black had to manipulate Ben Linus into killing Jacob himself, because they can't touch each other. So anytime survivors come to the island, they are pawns in the game, like free will, determinism, whatever. They're pawns in the game between the Man in Black and Jacob, whether that's Rousseau or the Black Rock or the Dharma Initiative. It's all part of this like larger chessboard. And the climax of the show is that Jack makes the fucking Jacob side win, and he dies doing it. And that's when it's revealed that the church waiting room in the Sideways universe is a waiting room for purgatory. All of our characters head off into the light.
It's a waiting room for the afterlife.
To the afterlife, yeah. They weren't dead the whole time. This is what Sam was getting at, is like everything that happened on the island really happened.
Whatever happened, happened.
Whatever happened, happened. Like one of the few good episodes of season 5. Whatever happened really happened. And then the Sideways universe, where their lives tend to be better mostly, is like a purgatory style waiting room. I honestly think whatever. This is like Monday morning Lost, you're back in here. But like, I think a more interesting end to the show might have been like almost all these characters were flawed and bad before they got to the island in some way, shape, or form. I think the island being purgatory would have been a more satisfying ending. Like they need to purge their souls by doing something good on the island, like fighting for the forces of good. And that was their purgatory, and they were dead the whole time, I think would be a more satisfying ending than this halfway version where like, no, only the parallel universe was purgatory, my friend.
They couldn't
Everything
do that
on the island was
because
real.
That was like the leading fan theory, was that the island was, and they had for 5 years, they've been doing interviews where they said it's not purgatory. So
I do like the way that it ended. I liked that in the end, nothing really actually mattered, because like, okay, yeah, sure, Jack saved the island and good, whatever, but he's dead and now Hurley has to take over. So now it's just like, who knows what the hell happens after that? Like nothing matters.
Some people make it off, I guess, like Kate, the baby, Aaron.
Yeah, but it ends with them being in purgatory. So in the end, they're all just really
not on that universe though. In the real world, they take off on the plane with Frank Lapenis,
Frank Lapenis,
Sawyer, Kate, and Aaron and the Australian woman.
For sure.
Claire.
The whole purgatory thing is like, at some point they all die. It doesn't really matter.
Honestly, good on you for like watching. I couldn't really watch any of that Sideways universe scenes. Like I couldn't.
I mean, I was purging it. I was binging it. I was throwing up the whole time. No, I was binging it the entire time. It's like I had to finish it
right
at that point.
But you didn't, because it doesn't really matter. Ultimately, all of that Sideways universe stuff, nothing is accomplished.
Yeah, but I was like, these are my close friends.
Right.
I was addicted to it. I was like, I need to know what's going to happen to them.
And you get to see people who are back, like Charlie, Shin and Boone.
Oh, thank God we got Boone back.
Thank God we got Boone back. They go to the church, and Jack is the last one to arrive. He's sort of the last one to kind of figure his shit out to move on, and he touches the coffin that his father is supposed to be in, and there are these very sweet moments in the finale where like they find characters who did have a real connection on the island, and they cause in each other a recollection of their experience, and those were always very sweet. Right? So it's like Charlie and Claire, Sayid and Shannon, Locke and Linus, maybe? Or
I think it was Linus.
Yeah. Sawyer and Juliet. Jack causes Kate, but he doesn't get it back himself. And so those moments were great. And then, the way it ends with Jack walking through the bamboo forest and all of them coming together to move on, it is one of those things where if you just don't think about it and you just sort of take in the sentimentality and the emotion of the scene, it's a great scene. Just don't think about it too much.
Yeah.
I think the finale is beautiful. We talked about this. We talked about this when he was like the ending scene where he's running through the forest or whatever. It's gut wrenching.
It's how the show starts, right? With Jack and the bamboo.
Right.
And the dog.
Yeah.
Vincent.
What a great ending scene. So fucked up. So sad.
But yeah, that's it. There's Lost. You finally get it now. You don't have to rewatch it. You can just listen to this episode. You don't have to go back. We're going to quickly talk about 3 of our favorite episodes, or at least episodes that I think are worth highlighting. We actually, Ben and I disagree about this first one, which is called Do No Harm. It's from the first season. It's near the end, and it's sort of an ER style episode. While Jack is trying to treat Boone's wounds, who's dying because he fell in a plane off a cliff. Anyway, it's not important. Claire is also having her baby, and so he's like having to do both operations at the same time.
He doesn't go to Claire at all.
He ends up delegating, I guess, Claire to Kate. But he's like giving his own blood to Boone. And Jack's thing, is that he has to help people. He's like obsessed with fixing people. And so he has to let go of his responsibility to save Boone and like let Boone die. He has to like accept that he actually can't save Boone.
He's willing to amputate Boone's leg because he's like bleeding internally from his hemorrhaging, whatever. He's giving his own blood. There's nothing he won't do to save Boone in this moment because he's that dedicated to the cause of doctoring and self-sacrifice.
And the flashbacks in this episode are Jack struggling to write his wedding vows for his marriage to, what was her name again?
Who knows?
From Modern Family. Julie Bowen. And he like can't open up about his feelings. So in Jack's backstory, he has saved the life of his ex-wife or his fiance at this time. She was in like a horribly paralyzing car accident, actually with somebody else from the show. He like nurses her back to life and like gets her to walk again. So he like kind of saves her. The flashbacks are about how he's like not great at expressing his feelings. And Jack says like, I'm not sure if I'll be a good husband. Am I just marrying her because I saved her life? And that's sort of what he's struggling with. And then his dad gives him the advice, commitment is what makes you tick, Jack. The problem is that you're just not good at letting go. And then he crushes his vows. Jack goes on to do well with his vows. This is the show like showing its ass a little bit because obviously what they're trying to do is tie the flashbacks to Jack's real world experience, which is that he needs to learn to let go. And so it's like, great. He's like learning the same lesson in his flashback and on the island. Great. We have like a thematic through line for the entire episode. This is the show kind of saying like, see, we did the thing that we're supposed to do. But I think it's just so obvious that they're trying to shoehorn this in because actually Jack's flashbacks have very little to do with letting go. Like, what is he really letting go of, Ben? Like, do you think they did a good job? We were disagreeing with this episode, but like, just because you have Christian Shepard say you need to let go, but like that advice actually is not relevant to Jack struggling to write his wedding vows.
Well, I think it's also like let go of saving the thing, like saving the marriage, saving the relationship.
He needs to let go of his anxieties.
Maybe he just feels like he shouldn't have been getting married to her, I think.
In like the wedding vows plot line, it's the rigidity and inflexibility of perfectionism that he has. Like in either case, whether it is like these vows have to be perfect, she wrote them for me and they're beautiful and whatever, and mine need to be just as good, or whether it's the other kind. I think I see what you're saying where they are two different things, but they are two different manifestations of a kind of perfectionism.
That does make sense in the context of like trying to get his vows perfect. It just seems like that by the time he gets advice from his father that fixes this issue, his main issue is like, do I want to be married and do I feel the need to marry her just because like I'm fixing her?
That's the vibe I got. So I thought when his father was like, you need to let go, I thought he meant like you need to let go of this whole relationship, like you don't actually need.
Right. That's what his father's advice seems to imply.
Right.
That you need to like let go of this person you've been saving. But that's actually counterintuitive to getting married, right? Like his father is telling him like, don't get married in a way. Is that's kind of how I took it. But that's not what the episode's plot is about. That advice actually saves this marriage. Like it puts Jack at ease and he gets married.
Or is he just defying his dad? I don't know. I don't know.
That's what I mean. Like the show is just like confused.
Maybe it's not confused. Maybe it's supposed to be open to interpretation.
What Ben suggested is actually like a far better resolution to this episode and thematic through line. If the problem is purely just that like I want these vows to be perfect. Yeah, you need to like let go and accept that things aren't perfect.
We should write like an email with our grievances.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Damon Lindelof. I mean, he would just say, I know, dude. Like he spent the last 15 years of his life telling people he knows that Lost was unsatisfactory. He's like, no, we made mistakes.
We fumbled the bag.
Yeah.
I would just say, to put a button on this discussion, the A plot and the B plot of any Lost episode is going to be focused on one character for the A plot and their experiences on the island. And then the B plot will be their flashbacks.
Yeah, they get the subject right, typically.
And sometimes, not always, but sometimes, Lost can rise to the heights of having the flashbacks complement the A plot in a thematically satisfying way. Normally, it's just a little bit of character development in the backstory that helps elucidate what our character is doing in the A plot. But sometimes there will be a thematic unity.
And its best moments. Okay, so let's talk about two of the best episodes of the show. First is Through the Looking Glass. Like we said, this is a season finale. And so there's a lot of action going on. Like our crew is trying to do three things at once, which is to kill the others that are coming to their camp to kidnap the women, for Charlie to go to the Looking Glass station and turn off the jamming device. And I think they're also trying to go to a radio tower to like broadcast their signal to the ship. And it has the flash forward reveal at the end, which is like one of the coolest stylistic uses the show does. Lost at its best, I'd say, in an episode like this. It's also where Charlie dies in that like iconic moment with his hand against the glass and the all caps, not Penny's boat.
Give this a watch, and I would just add, watch the episode immediately preceding it called Greatest Hits.
Yes. Yeah, if you're going to watch this, watch both of them.
In Greatest Hits, one plotline in season 3 is that Desmond has premonitions about the future, fate, predestination, whatever, where he keeps seeing Charlie dying and he keeps like saving Charlie. You know, Charlie's going to step on a booby trap, get an arrow through the neck. Desmond tackles him out of the way. And Desmond tells Charlie that, listen, you're going to die, but you're going to turn off some kind of thing and it might save everybody. And so Charlie is reminiscing about the 5 best moments of his life. And it's about a character reckoning with certain death. And it's like, yeah, this tortured soul who struggled with heroin addiction and all of these things, which the show doesn't always handle well, the drug addiction side of things. What are the 5 best moments in this character's life? And he's really well thought out and well characterized. And it's so fucking sad when he gets it.
One of the moments I remember the most from the show was when him and his brother are fighting in the rain and then their song comes on the radio. Like Charlie can have great moments for sure.
Are you a Charlie hater?
I don't like Charlie with Claire. I find those scenes boring. It's just, like I said, him over and over again saying, I need to keep you safe, you know? But yeah, we find out that Charlie has this like final destination target on his back in this season. And like, if I find out I have a final destination, a target on my back, like if I'm Charlie, I'm getting back onto heroin.
Yeah.
Right? Like at that point, I'm going to die anyway.
I was kind of waiting for that to happen.
And yeah, I think people would be like, yeah, you know what? If you're going to end up getting killed by fate, then you might as well be high.
Inject him if you got him, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, smoke him if you got him.
I'm always saying that, yeah.
Okay, Constant. I think probably the best episode of the show, right? People usually cite this, which is crazy because it's actually in the 4th season. It's sort of beyond the shelf life of this show. And I'd say it's lost at its most sci-fi, or at least like best sci-fi.
Yeah, definitely not its most sci-fi, but the best executed sci-fi the show ever did.
Right. Desmond, he's like weirdly impervious to electromagnetism. And so like the island causes him a lot of problems once the hatch explodes and he starts to see visions. He also starts to like skip in time with his mind. So Desmond is like on the freighter and he thinks it's 1996 and he keeps flashing back to 1996 and then flashing back to 2005. And Daniel Faraday, the guy who understands all the physics in the show, he tells him like, go find me in 1996. Here's some personal information and like ask me for help. And Desmond figures out that he has to find a constant. His situation is going to be saved if he can find one person who will pick up the phone 8 years from now. And he really struggles to find this person.
Guess who it is? You'll never guess who it is.
Yeah, what do you think his favorite type of pasta is? Do you think it's penne? Penne picks up the phone in both 1996 and 2004 and gives him one constant in his life that saves him from dying from time travel disease.
From time sickness.
I was watching this show with someone and they kept asking me questions. Like, the thing about Lost is like you answer one question and it actually doesn't provide any kind of explanation. So it's like, oh, who's this guy? He's the man in black. Who's the man in black? He's sort of like an evil brother on the island, but he's actually in John Locke's body. And it's like you just start to go...
There's just so many more questions.
Yeah. And you answer the questions and you feel like a fucking idiot. You're like, oh, he has time sickness. That's why he's dying. And it's like, well, what is time sickness? Well, it's like your body keeps jumping back and it's like just...
Yeah. And one of the great things about this episode is that they found a way to make the flashbacks literal. Like, it's not just the character remembering their past. His consciousness is literally going back and forth. So they've like, I'm using a grad school word, they've concretized the narrative device with their sci-fi device in a like fun, interesting way. And then, of course, because things always go wrong for our characters, he has broken up with Penny in 1996. He's in the army. So he needs to go to this woman whose heart he's broken and say, I will never call you again if you pick up the phone 8 years from now on this date.
Christmas Eve.
And she does. So it's like on Christmas Eve, yes. So it's sci-fi and it's a love story and she does, and he beats back time sickness.
I love you, Penny. I've always loved you.
Also, I gotta say this. We're gonna talk more about Lost's dumb naming conventions, but the fact that the loyal woman who waits for him is named Penelope, the name of Odysseus's loyal wife who waited for him as the suitors were eating her out of house and home.
This show is so freaking smart, man. Like, So let's talk about our themes. Everybody's favorite Remember Shuffle section, the themes section. So if you squint your eyes and you really, put your ear against it and you really listen, I think there is a theme of faith in this show. I joke because this theme is so overt. I mean, they're constantly like literally talking about this. It's interesting because, faith traditionally is like, it's like faith in God, right? In Jesus or whatever. And many of these characters have this like instinct for some kind of spiritual faith. And the island is like a perfect setting for it because unlike a regular God, where your faith just has to be held despite the fact that you never get reassured of things. Like, you ever see that movie Silence by Martin Scorsese? The whole point of that movie is that when you try to listen for God, all you hear is silence, and yet you need to keep faith. But what's funny about the island is that your faith is almost immediately always rewarded, right?
Yep.
If you're John Locke, it's like you have landed on the island and restored your ability to walk. And so you're like, I believe in this.
Okay, but it is also challenged. For instance, with Boone.
Right.
He has to like follow whatever.
It kills his friend.
It kills his friend. And so that isn't totally rewarded, I would say. It is definitely a challenging thing as well.
Well, because he's starting to lose the ability to use his legs, and that's how Boone gets killed. But it does restore his ability to walk. It's usually like the island will give you some weird dream, and if you follow the dream, you will get whatever you're looking for. This happens with a lot of the men of faith in Lost, like Mr. Echo and Locke. There's a lot of back and forth between Jack and Locke on this subject.
Why do you find it so hard to believe? Why do you find it so easy? It's never been easy.
This is Lost in a nutshell, right? Why do you find it so hard to believe? Why do you find it so easy? The man of
one
science,
of these
man
early
of faith.
season 2 episodes is literally called Man of Science, Man of Faith. Like they are not hiding this bad boy. And I think the show eventually comes down pretty firmly on the side of faith because Jack does do the metaphysical quest to save the world. And the island is magic.
Right. And ultimately, the man of faith is right in the end. Like Locke says, we're supposed to be here. You have to have faith that the island is telling you to do the right thing. And it's interesting, J.J. Abrams and Lindelof were talking about how, like, what kind of universe do they want this show to have? Do they want it to have, like, X-Files rules? Or do they want it to have, like, Indiana Jones rules, is how Lindelof put it, right? Where X-Files, it's kind of grounded in, like, a scientific reality. Whereas in Indiana Jones, it's straight up, like, mythical, right? You open the Ark of the Covenant.
Real.
God is real, exactly.
God is real. He is an Old Testament God who is angry and will melt the faces of Nazis.
Yeah, and is often testing your faith. And eventually, especially in season 6, it gets a lot more faith-based, where like Jack straight up isn't even a man of science anymore. Jack is the guy saying, the island is telling me I need to have faith in it. We need to do faith. We need to do a faith.
Do you think Erica Kirk would like this show?
And I think it's interesting, too, in the show, because like not only do you have faith in the island, but a lot of times it's about having faith in others. We meet the Tailies, and they're very skeptical of others because they've been kidnapped and tortured so much that they're very paranoid and skeptical. And so there's always this sense that can you trust other people as well as like, can you trust the island?
I don't know if you heard, Jordana, but we got to live together or we die alone.
Whoa.
Yo,
bars, bro.
So many times in this show. Even to the point that the show makes fun of it, where a character tells Jack, if you say live together, die alone, I will slap you in the face. So they at least can have a little bit of meta fun with it sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, another common theme in this show is fate. And this is tied up with faith, but it's a lot of like, you're not supposed to leave here. This isn't what's supposed to happen. Like I said, with Charlie, he has the final destination thing of it's like, if you're supposed to die, then like you will at some point, or like whatever happened. And sometimes the fate is ironic, right? Sayid decides to kill Ben Linus as a child because Ben Linus will grow up to be evil, but that ends up being the reason that Ben Linus is evil in like the show's sort of convoluted timeline history.
It's literally the plot line to almost all time travel stories. It's like you try and change the past and you have made it happen.
Right.
There's a dozen Doctor Who episodes about this at least. Apparently Sayid didn't get Doctor Who in Saddam Hussein's Iraq. Otherwise, he could have avoided this.
And the fate theme is often tied in with like the concept of free will. You know, people are always told it's your choice. That seems to run in the face of something like what's supposed to happen, which is determined by not free will. And so they play with that a lot.
In the same way that the show came down pretty firmly on the side of faith over science, it seems to also come down pretty firmly on the side of fate and predeterminism over free will, I think.
We got the theme of like the mystery box is what I called it. I mean, this is, I think, sort of a J.J. Abrams. This is the thing he gave the show is like, I think Matt called it like a P.T. Barnum approach to creating television. That line of Hurley saying, I want some friggin' answers, you know, I think it sort of encapsulates the audience's reaction to Lost. Is like, you want to know what's going on. What's in the freaking hatch? You know, what's this? So weird. What, there's a hatch on a deserted island? What's going on?
What
down
impression?
there?
Is this you as a child? What's the impression?
This is everyone in 2005.
Okay.
Being like, what's going on?
What's the big idea?
Yeah.
There are so many lines in these episodes that you can immediately tell were written to be clipped for a trailer for the episode, where a character will say like, we're about to get all of our answers or whatever the fuck. And I'm like, come on,
And then there's
man.
a commercial break. Yeah.
There's a line I'll put in here of John Locke saying to Jack,
sober up. We're going to get a good night's sleep. Tomorrow, we're going to find out what happens if that button doesn't get pushed.
and it's just like, beautiful. That is Lost. We're going to find out what happens when we don't push the button. Great. I can't wait to find out.
And what we find out just leads to like a half a dozen more questions.
And I mentioned up top that this show is a great embodiment of the 2000s because of like the technological point that it was at, because this show led to what this media academic at NYU, Jason Mittel, calls forensic fandom. The concept of like fans going online, debating what's going to happen, working together. Like when that map of the island was seen in that one episode where it's on the back of the hatch door, I think it's called like Lockdown. people in chat rooms. Within 24 hours, they had translated all the Latin. They had photoshopped the map because it was like in a black light. It was hard to look at, but like they had fully worked together to find out what was happening forensically. And I do remember that, like when I was in high school, so much time spent like online reading fan theories about what was going on. And I think that that is like something very unique. It was certainly unique at the time. Now, so many television shows, this is how they work, right? Like Westworld, I mean, also a show by J.J. Abrams, I think, right?
Oof.
Game of Thrones, Severance. Like there's a lot of mystery box shows now, but this is really the first one to get this kind of fandom going.
And I think that the nature of Lost mystery boxness is fundamentally different from what someone like David Lynch does, right? Twin Peaks isn't really about the dead girl. It's about the absurdity of life and what have you. But I mean, I should say I haven't seen Twin Peaks, but this is what I'm told. But I've seen Mulholland Drive. It is not actually about figuring out what happened. It's about thinking about dreams. It's about thinking about the unconscious. It's not about the thing that it's about.
Right.
Whereas Lost is in a lot of ways, or at least it presents itself to be.
It's more about what's happening in the hatch than it is about thinking about the concept of fate and faith.
Well, it's so like interwoven so intensely
Beautifully
and obviously
done. Right, true. You actually get 2 for 1. Yeah. Twin Peaks is Lindelof's favorite show, by the way. So that kind of fits nicely. He's trying to do a Twin Peaks. You could tell with the dream sequences, I think, right? They're always very Lynchian.
The feeling is not Twin Peaks, though, at all.
No.
Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's done worse, for sure. But I think that's kind of what they're going for.
Listen, I love Lost, so
right.
I think it's just a different thing. It's
You're
just
a true
totally
believer.
Different thing. I'm a true believer, yeah.
Would you ever watch this again?
Yes, not right now because I just did that. But yeah, definitely. Okay. I think so.
In 15 years?
Yeah, who's to say?
Okay, let's move on to our next theme, philosophy. I think the show is trying to gesture to like our established reservoir of philosophical worldviews, right? I think it does so very weakly.
Yeah, this theme should be called naming conventions more than it should be called philosophy.
Like you get John Locke. Did you know John Locke was actually the name of a philosopher?
Yeah, it's the one that everyone reads in high school history classes because he's the one who like makes the American Revolution happen or whatever.
Okay.
Not really. That's like the simplistic version.
Yeah, he's a classical liberal, right? There's a character named Rousseau, and she has gone mad from living on her own in the jungle for like 16 years. And I think that that's kind of them turning the concept on its head because like the real life Rousseau thought that like civilization is corrupting, right?
Yeah.
And so man is meant to live in nature. And so you have this character who's gone crazy from living in nature too long without civilization. We could go through the rest of these characters, but like, I don't know, man. Like Desmond Hume, I don't know. How does the philosopher Desmond Hume relate to the character?
I don't know. They're both Scottish.
True. Faraday's is pretty easy to do. You're like, okay, physicist.
And it's also like Faraday, isn't it like a Faraday cage or whatever?
He invented it, right?
Yeah.
The real guy, not the fictional character.
Yeah.
And then the evil Russian with an eye patch, his name is Bakunin after the Russian anarchist. A little bit of anti-anarchism flavor to it.
Yeah. Anyway, they tried to do this. I think it was like a very surface level thing. There wasn't really a lot there. So leadership. I think this show plays a lot with the idea of leadership. Like, what does it mean to be a leader? Who should be in charge? Jack's authority over the group is a reoccurring theme. How should he govern this position that he did not want, he claims, right? He's the handsome doctor. He's a natural leader in this show. People like Locke and Sawyer are often butting heads with him over decision making.
Yeah, and this is where a lot of the good interpersonal human drama comes from between the characters in our sprawling cast of characters, is over questions of leadership and authority and what to do, which in turn, these conflicts map on to a lot of the binaries that Lost really loves. Even though all of our characters are pretty morally gray, the world of Lost loves a good fucking binary. There's a scene in the first season where Locke teaches Walt how to play backgammon, where it's like black and white, one or the other. So when we have these conflicts on leadership, it'll be, you know, the pragmatism of Jack versus the idealism of Locke, or like we already said, the science or the faith, or the good versus the evil for Jacob and the Man in Black. Lost loves a good binary, and then they map it onto these leadership conflicts in like a pretty satisfying way.
You never quite know who's right either. Even like when Ben Linus is trying to convince someone of something, you're like, is he doing an evil thing right now?
Because he lies so much. He's not a reliable narrator.
Yeah. But he knows more than you. You don't know what's going on this island either. So Ben Linus is the leader of the others, and that position of leadership within the others is something that gets debated a lot too, because John Locke will eventually take that leadership role from him. Ben Linus took the leadership role from Charles Whitmore. I think we've learned that often these tribal societies or societies with less people in them are less likely to have an authoritarian leader. It's more of a communal thing, but that's not really what happens with the others. Ben is very much the outright, people just obey his authority no matter what. They go to the Looking Glass station and they just operate there without questioning him at all. When they're moving to a new camp, he lives like a British officer in the wild. It's a very authoritarian position he has over this group.
Because he's the only one who can talk to Jacob or whatever. He's talking to the God spirit. So he's the absolute monarch leader of the others.
Him, but also Richard as well.
Yeah.
I loved Richard.
He's great. He was the one flashback scene from season 6 or 5 I wanted to watch.
It was really good.
Okay. Couple more themes here. Morality. It's funny how often someone in this show describes themselves as the good guys. I think we get that a lot from the others, because you come to find out the others, even though they're presented as being this evil group, in the end, you kind of end up empathizing with everyone a little bit in this show. Juliet is another, and she becomes one of our main beloved characters. Like I said, even with Ben Linus, sometimes you're maybe he's right,
Yeah. Characters that sit in a comfortable, morally gray universe, I think, is the network drama's attempt at recreating prestige TV, right? Putting the prestige drama of morally gray anti-hero into the network TV mold.
Ironically, the only black and white characters in this show in terms of evilness or morality are the gods of the island. The man in black is bad, Jacob is good, I suppose. I mean, he did kidnap all these people, but he needed them to find a new candidate.
He's a cruel and malevolent good god.
Right. Okay, last theme, religion. This show gestures towards religion quite a bit. Many of them are Christian. Like I said, Mr. Echo builds a church on the island, which John Locke chooses that same location for his spiritual sweat lodge. In the end, when they meet up at that church, I don't know if you noticed this, but the stained glass windows have a symbol from every religion, right? Or from the top 6 religions.
In the religion power rankings.
It's like a multi-denominational, it groups all the religions together. It's funny, in that church you have a Hindu sculpture
next to the cross.
It's a coexist bumper sticker. Yes. Shout out Isaac and the Coexisting podcast. It uses religion as a totem, and it's all kind of just the same. It's just the concept of spirituality. It's not really important what the details are. It's just it's religion. It's faith.
Yeah. David Lindelof is for sure a guy who's tried acid before, right? We're all in agreement there. And he's seen the connections, and it informs his world building.
He's definitely seen some things for sure.
Yo, you think he's tried weed before, man?
Yeah, he's on the reefer. He made this on the reefer.
Last section, style. So I'll talk a bit about the style of the show. So I think this show, it has 2 very defining qualities. The first of which is the flashbacks. This was one of its stylistic flourishes. You would learn how to watch a Lost episode, which is to be okay, you have the island stuff, and then you learn about the character's very interesting backstory before they got here. You get to learn about what horrible thing happened to them before they got to the island. And it might be related to their experience on the island this week. So, but eventually they run out of horrible things for each person. And so they flash forward in that great reveal we mentioned, or they flash to the side to the alternate dimension. And it plays with that a lot. Eventually you get flashbacks from other people on the island, like the others or the tailies, or just other people that have been in the background this whole time, like the expose episode on the 2 people who are buried alive.
It's a great one. It's a horror film episode. I also love the Rose and Bernard episode, the one episode they get, because it's very sweet.
Right. It's funny how little they have for those 2 to do after they reunite. They're just oh yeah, they're back together, and there's not really much else for them to do. There's an episode Ji-Yeon, which is where they play with your expectations, where Sun's storyline is a flash forward to her being off the island, and Jin's storylines are actually flashbacks, which they don't reveal to you until the end of the episode. So they're playing with your stylistic expectations from the show. Okay, next, I think the biggest stylistic flair this show had was cliffhangers.
Oh my god.
This show, it had a TV gaze built into it, right? Every time a character says a line that has a bit of a emphasis on it, you're hearing that fucking sound effect and you're going to commercial right after. Boom. And then when you come back, you're probably going back in time a little bit so that you can get up to that moment again. This show has such a reality TV feel to it.
Maybe that's why I like it so much.
Yeah, I think so.
Honestly.
When you're watching reality TV and they show you a big fight and then they say next up, up on, Real Housewives. It's like two people fighting.
Oh yeah.
But then you come back and it's
like
not
a dog.
that moment.
It's like the bell rings and I'm like foaming at the mouth. Yeah.
But then they go back and they'll just keep teasing you with that moment.
Oh yeah. I'm hooked, man.
Like Lost season 1 ends with they've blown the door open on the hatch. We're finally going to find out what fucking happens down there. And then essentially the last moment of season 2, episode 1 is when they blow the door open on the hatch. Like they love to bring you back to that moment from a different perspective.
Remember when that hit? Yeah. It could hit again. Think about it. Yeah.
And then episode 2 has like the exact same cliffhanger moment. I'm like, can you please move this along?
Can we go in the fucking hatch yet?
Yeah. Let me just skip ahead to, I think, its third most defining feature, which is melodrama. This is an extremely melodramatic show. And what do we mean by that, Ben?
When we say melodrama, we mean that it's over the top. We mean that it's aiming for a strong emotional appeal, even at the expense of detailed characterization. Like if you think melodrama, you think of a soap opera, which might have very flat characters. And I think Lost definitely does have some well-written characters, but it's also got its fair share of flat ones, like all of the women. And I think you see this melodrama in terms of the backstories that are so over the top and so sad.
Yeah.
Like when we introduced John Locke at the top of the show, that laundry list of suffering that makes Frank Grimes' life look easy in comparison.
And with that, we're going to go to a commercial break. And we're back.
They do love using music to ramp up that emotion, too. It's not like The Sopranos where most of the music is coming from music that's actually happening in the world. They're playing the fucking string violin. They're ramping up the emotions. And what I mean by the fact that it's melodramatic is I started keeping a tally of every time somebody in this show grabs someone by like the scruff of their shirt and like shoves them against the wall. It starts happening like every episode.
What's the tally mark?
53. Like one for as many episodes as I saw.
It's very Looney Tunes style in a way.
They're trying to ramp up tension, action, emotion in a scene. But I'm like, well, one way to ramp up the emotion, grab them by the scruff of the shirt, throw them against the wall. That'll do it.
Flatten out the wall.
There is a little Looney Tunes scene. Do you remember when Michael is like a janitor on the ship and he's setting off the bomb and the bomb goes off and a little flag pops up?
Yeah.
Like,
it's so good.
That is some Looney Tunes, Ash.
I think I literally said that. I was watching it with Derek and I was like, this is peak. This is perfect.
Looney Tunes?
Yeah.
I also think in every single episode, I would bet money on this. In every single episode, one of the male characters hits one of the other male characters. Either a punch in the face or a kick in the face or a tackle.
To the face, yeah.
There is always some physical violence, I think, in every single episode that I watched.
Just as like an example too, you remember that episode Constant we were just talking about? Desmond is having flashbacks. So he needs to go down to the doctor's office on the ship. And the doctor is like, this is my patient. Like, no one else is allowed to talk to him for some reason. And then so everybody's banging at the door. Finally, Sayid gets in there. He locks the door. I think he grabs the doctor by the scruff of the shirt. And then, like, the alarm starts going off. The military guys are trying to get in. And so there's all this tension in the scene. And I'm like, the only thing that's actually happening here is Desmond is getting like a doctor's checkup. Like none of these characters are actually in conflict with each other, but now the alarm's going off, everybody's shouting. It finds ways to like create tense moments where there's actually like very little disagreement between the people involved in the scene.
It's a very over-the-top show. Right? It's not just that Jack needs to heal Boone. It's that everything is wrong with Boone and Claire is going to labor at the same time. And he's the only guy who can give blood. And they don't have the medical equipment for it. Like the amount of heightening they do for any obstacle that they do to make it absolutely maximum tension is insane.
All right, let's wrap up here by just having a quick discussion on like, is this a good show? And I think, Ben, you've been saying that it's mid plus.
Yes.
From 1 to 10, what's the rating? 1 to 10. Ben, you first.
7.75.
Okay, I'll allow it.
4.815234.
No, really though, what would you rate it?
I'd give it a 7.5. Yeah.
So you're just copying off of Ben.
He gave it a little lower than me.
Like barely.
7.7.
You can be yourself. Have your own opinion.
To me, like an 8 is like an all-time great show, and it's probably like a little short of that. It's like a 7.8.
Okay, I believe it is an 8 8.7667. That's what I would say. 8.67.
8.67. Wow, that's good.
Yes.
Yeah, I just think it's actually better than most dramas. I was trying to watch some other dramas last night because like actually I haven't seen too many of them. It's not as good as most things on HBO, but I think it's better than like most USA Network shows, for example. Ben said it's like on the Star Trek scale, it's like between DS9 and Voyager, right? That's kind of where you put it.
Yeah, I think it's better than The West Wing, which is a network drama from the time. It's certainly better than The West Wing.
It was easier to watch than The West Wing, I think, yeah.
I think it's better than... Now I'm just naming shows. I think it's better than Mad Men.
No. Get out of my house.
I love Mad Men. Mad Men's one of my favorite shows.
Oh, okay.
But I
And you
think
it's better.
I think it is actually better.
Wow.
Yeah, what's up? I just think it's more... I don't know. I think it's more interesting. Mad Men's good from like...
It's better art. They're doing a better themes, a better character development.
Definitely. I think the plots are more interesting. I don't know. I think Mad Men, like, historically is fun.
Yeah, like as a period
and of course,
piece.
it's a great show. John Hamm's great, whatever. But we can talk about... You want to spend some time talking about Mad Men?
Yeah, come back for Mad Men.
I think it's good. I think it did well for a reason.
As Rick would say, it's the 9 p.m. time slot. You know, you got to have a show for everybody to watch.
That's a good slot. What's your point?
No, that's what I mean. Like, it's like, hey, you got to have something on TV. It's 9 p.m. Gotta throw
yeah, but
something.
you don't have like the bad show on at 9 p.m.
No, I definitely.
You have the good show.
Right.
I am increasingly of the view that good art should be weird. That's like a take that I'm working on. I'm starting to think that like, yeah, art should make you like think a little bit more. And one way to make you think is by being weird. And I respect Lost for being a fucking network TV show at the 9 p.m. slot. It took some risks with its structure. It took some creative risk in terms of putting some pretty intense genre fiction, kind of Trojan horsing people into what was essentially a sci-fi show. Yeah, I respect the hustle. I think they took some major swings and they didn't always connect, but I appreciate that they tried. You know, no show that makes me cry can be any worse than a 3 out of 5 stars. So ticks that box. And I think there are some very memorable characters. There are some memorable plot beats, memorable episodes, and yes, some memorable themes because they are so highlighted and telescoped and underlined.
Can we also say our favorite characters? Go ahead, Ben.
It's so hard to choose because I love them all so much. Not all of them, though. I like a lot of them so much. I do really love Charlie. I'm a big Charlie head.
He's great. It's hard to dislike him. I don't know what Giordano's point is.
I think I'm a sucker for the characters who have a little bit more levity. So, like, I can very easily say my least favorite characters are Jack and Kate, and maybe even John Locke. Even though he's an incredible actor and an incredible character, like, I never was looking forward to his episodes. But I love a Charlie episode. I love a Hurley episode. I like the lighter side of Lost.
Yeah, if you were to ask me, like, whose episode am I most excited to see, if it's their flashback episode, probably Hurley, I guess, or Locke. I like those two.
I like Sawyer's too. That's not light. But...
Sawyer's always doing the same thing. He's always doing a con on a woman. It's like pretty straightforward.
What a life, though.
Yeah.
Giordano's going to hate me, but I got to put Desmond up there in my top 3.
Yeah.
Oh, his episodes are great.
Desmond's
honestly.
great.
I love Desmond. He's just he's stupid beyond belief.
He's the smartest man in Scotland, Giordano.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite character?
Sayid.
I struggled with his flashback episodes, but I like him on the island for sure.
They just do him so dirty. Like they turn him into like a killer assassin in the later seasons, and like
and also like the last season, he's just lobotomized.
He's like, yeah, I'll just do whatever you say.
He literally has had a lobotomy, literally. Yeah, so
I want to fit in one criticism I have before we move on, which is in The Sopranos, I talk about how much I appreciate the connective tissue of like the A plot feeds into the B plot. So like in the worst episode of The Sopranos, Christopher, right? AJ is reading Howard Zinn, a revisionist historian, in an episode that's dealing with like Christopher Columbus protests in the A plot, right? And that's the worst episode of The Sopranos. In Lost, the connective tissue that they're going for is like, oh, did you know that like while Sayid was in the Gulf War, he spoke to Kate's father, who was like an American army person, right? Or like, did you know that Ana Lucia was actually a bodyguard for Christian Shepard? Like that's like their idea of doing like, yeah, see, it's all connected. Like we're doing the Sopranos thing.
This is like a very important stylistic detail for Lost. The creators of Lost heard the theory of the 6 degrees of separation while smoking a bunch of weed. And they were like, what if we made that our entire show? Because all of those flashbacks are about showing these passing moments where we see that all these people on this flight are connected in some significant ways.
Yeah.
They fucking love that shit.
This is what they're doing instead of having the themes tie together. It's just like, whoa, isn't it cool that like all these people were connected and they didn't even even know it yet. Like, you know, like a lot of the stuff, it's like a surface level cool. It doesn't seem that great. So one more thing in defense of Lost, if I might say a nice thing about them, is that for all of its faults, we just did this episode on like CGI Christmas movies and like how much we hated them. But like they're filming on Hawaii with real prop people who, you know, they talked about like how they have to crinkle and destroy the Dharma Initiative beer cans that it looks right. And like you have real actors and writers who are living on the beach. And like, I think that anything that's the product of this many people like working together with practical effects, coming together and adding different things in their own way is going to make something better.
Live together, die alone.
That's true, exactly. I appreciate the fact that hundreds of people worked on this in the real world to come up with things to make the show better. Like the pilot, most expensive pilot ever made. They actually flew a plane out to Hawaii and destroyed it.
Nice.
Which is a lot more than we can say about the fucking Christmas Carol movie, even though it also cost like $100 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, quick echoes in the culture. Like I said, I think we get a lot of our mystery box template from this show. Westworld, Game of Thrones, Severance. All of these shows often face the same fate where it's like if you don't stick the landing, people are going to not like it. I think the Chair Company is kind of interesting because it's like a parody of this type of format, right? Where it keeps
fucking love this show. Yeah.
It's so good, but I'm really lost on how I'm really lost. But I'm not understanding how we're connecting Lost with it.
Well, because
but
it's a mystery box show in the sense where you're wondering like, what is this? What's going on?
True, I guess.
Isn't that a little bit weird? You see the hatch and you're like, isn't that weird?
Yeah. Okay,
Don't you
fair.
think that's weird? And it's like about finding out why this mystery exists. What could this possibly be? But I think Tim Robinson's is parodying this type of format.
Other echoes in the culture, this was big in the 2000s, but like the tie-in websites we've mentioned in the past, the Dark Knight had like viral websites that you could hack in and get or content or what have you.
Like I said, I think this is one of the first shows to have like an official podcast, right? Way back in 2006 or whatever, which now every show has. And it's funny, like things at the time that we thought every show would do, like having webisodes that you could only view on your cell phone that explain some of the lore. It's like nobody really does that anymore, I don't think, right? But in the 2000s, we thought like, oh yeah, this is just how media works now.
Do we think it was like one of the first shows that got really big online? Like a lot of people were talking about it online?
For sure. Yeah, I think that that's probably happened with like a lot of shows, but it probably had like the largest mass of people participating in discussions online about it. Okay, cool. Closing thoughts. In the end, I think I support any show that results in like people getting together ritualistic to watch it together. Like I said, I think Ben and I watched seasons 3 through 5 together every week. And then we went away to college and it like broke the ritual and I just like stopped watching. As much as I might shit on this, I love it. I'm happy that it exists.
The classic remember shuffle test of media. Are you happy that this cultural product exists? Emphatically, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Emphatically. Thought you said it was only mid plus, but interesting. Okay.
The world needs mid plus content.
Right. Yeah. Mid plus is better than mid. Like a show that I don't care if it exists might be like 2.5 Men, Big Bang Theory or something like that, you know?
If ER disappeared tomorrow, I would be fine. Right? Like any,
true.
Any procedural show. If I was living in a world where, due to something that happened on the island, the CSI franchise has never existed, my life would be the same, possibly even better.
It also says a lot about like nerd culture in the 2000s, that we took this show that was mainstream of mainstream, like probably the most talked about and watched show, not just by nerds, but by normies. And it became a Star Trek level of like mythology and fantasy and sci-fi-ness. I think says a lot about what happened to culture at large becoming far more nerdy over the course of the decade. So I think it's a great encapsulation of that too. But yeah. Sam, any closing thoughts? Thank you so much for sticking with us.
Thank you everyone for listening to the longest episode ever created by anyone ever. Yeah, I don't know. I think as I've reiterated over and over and over again, I think it's a great show. I think it's worth watching. Definitely, if you listen to this whole episode and never watched it, then don't, because now you know everything and that sucks. But I don't know. I think it's great. Thanks for listening.
What are you playing us off? You playing me off? I haven't thanked you yet for coming on. Thank you to Sam, one of our favorites. She's
Sam,
going
playing
insane.
the copyrighted music, making sure that we can't. Making sure that we get sent to
copyrighted.
YouTube.
This is what happens when I'm recording for too long. It's just like my brain just like Paul McCartney time.
Thank you so much to Sam. I just took up hours of Sam's time on a weekend. I really
Horrible
do appreciate
guy.
it.
Really bad guy.
Ben and I love having Sam on the show. Truly, she's a
a delight, even,
A
one would say?
delight to our show would not be the same without her. I think suffice to say.
Yeah, you wouldn't even have a show if it was.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't go that far. But check her out on Instagram. Thank you for shopping, and thank you for shopping too.
I'll be in your basement until next time.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Check me out in a year from now when I let her out again.
Yeah.
And actually, if you want to hear an episode on Wonder Chosen, I've been trying to get Sam's boyfriend to come on forever, and so leave a comment. Yeah.
As always, thank you for listening to Remember Shuffle. Please please subscribe, please write us a comment. It really helps the show out. And thank you for sticking with us through, what might very well be our longest episode ever. But it's just because Lost is such a rich, meaty, abundant text that gives us so much to talk about.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll see you later. Peace.
Ciao, ciao.
See you in another episode, brother.